Background?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, that looks.
Hey,
Hey, H. How's it going? This is
Mike
Mike
waiting on
waiting on
Jose.
Jose.
But
But
this
this
is
is
the
the Town
podcast.
Podcast.
Mike, how you
Mike,
doing
how you
tonight?
doing tonight?
I'm doing good. I just had
Doing
some
You
well?
doing
tacos.
well?
It's Taco Thursday.
It's
Taco
Taco
Thursday.
Thursday.
Taco Thursday
Taco
night.
Thursday night.
It's tacos every day. Mexican food
Oh,
Monday. Taco Tuesday. Why aren't you the tacos Wednesday? Taco
Tramposo.
Sunday. Fajita Friday.
But
But
South of the border
scallops
Saturday.
tonight.
Salsa Sundays.
so
So that's
um,
um.
we're gonna
We're
have a
gonna have a great
night
night. Just to let you guys know, we have a special guest on.
I'm sure we
I'm sure we
promoted
promoted
it,
it up,
but
I'll be
in
in about 5 minutes.
just
Just
gonna
gonna
maybe
go maybe host.
I
I
know
know
he's
he's
running
running
a
a
little
little
late.
late.
Um,
You know,
father, so
father. So I'm
one
one
out
out
there
there
who
who
realize what he's
realize
doing,
what he's doing,
getting them
getting them
food
food
or
or
you know what have you.
what have you.
Um,
Um,
tonight,
Tonight,
we're
we're
going to have
going
some
to have
fun.
some fun.
Yo, you're cutting out like crazy, guy.
Am I cutting?
Am I cutting out?
Yeah.
Oh, that
Oh,
sucks.
that sucks.
Whatever.
I'm not
I
exactly
can
sure.
host the whole show.
Um,
Um,
Mike,
Mike,
why don't you
why don't
talk a
you
little
talk a
bit?
little bit more?
What we're talking about, what we're doing tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're bringing on someone who's running to be the selectman or running to be on the board of selectmen. Which one is it? 'Cause you guys are
Running on
busy.
the
So he's not trying to
select
be the
board.
selectman? Okay. Which should be interesting. He's watched, I think, every live show we've done thus far.
Yep.
Yep.
And
He's
Been a big
been a
very
big supporter.
interactive with us, so it's exciting. I think he's lifelong Hudson resident, or most of his life in Hudson. Maybe went away for a couple years. I'm not sure. We'll find out later. I'm sure. And,
Oh, yeah.
it's
Oh yeah, well
exciting.
definitely.
So that's what we're gonna do.
Hey,
Hey,
I heard.
I heard somebody's
Bars.
bars though.
Oh, right now we gotta wait for Jose.
Yeah.
No, that's
No, that's fine.
Jose.
Jose, looks like you're
Oh, buddy.
oh, buddy.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be
ill echo right
like
now.
Frankenstein and Big Daddy, and we feel comfortable.
But the dope blanket of man, I think dude, this apartment's too big. Like,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
ceiling. I just want to say it's
That's
been,
not always.
I've been waiting for my couch since December 27th. I was supposed to be here March 2nd. They ripped it bringing it up, and I have to wait till the end of April.
Oh man,
That's
that's insane.
That sucks.
That sucks. I'm sorry to hear that.
That's fine.
Well,
They're
whether they're coming,
on their
they're on
way.
their way.
Wish I could
Say the same thing.
Jose will be here, you know what I'm saying?
That's okay.
That's okay. No worries.
How's
How's your week so far? I know we didn't
your
question and answer
on
on Monday.
Well, Monday was my
Uh,
birthday.
Well, I know.
Well, I know it was your birthday.
And no one got me presents.
No days off.
Um, no, I got no presents from any of my podcast members.
Listen,
Listen, it's
Mail.
mail.
Courier.
Courier.
Hey.
Hey.
I'm just messing with you. I went to Boston Sunday night. I stayed in the Seaport.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It was cold. It's super windy. Like,
Well, it's
Well, it's March.
March is mild at best.
March is
March has always been.
March is not 19 degrees though. March is like 20 at the coldest, 25 at the coldest, maybe 40s most of the time. It might snow, it might not snow, but like that wind on Sunday was incredible. My wife was walking and she just like stopped. I was like pushing her backwards.
Gotcha.
And then we went to Tesmacao. The Seaport was alright, and then Monday I had to deal with my broken windshield, passenger side window. Turn in my rental car, get a new rental car. So cut my day short, and I had the bubble guts.
That's okay. Okay. I guess there's an echo coming through on my side. Give me 1 second.
Well, I can always bring the microphone closer to me. Just trying not to. Every time, my microphone is way too loud. How about now, Jose? Is it good?
Side, but well, Jose, let's go ahead and get in so we can join. Like I said, we have a special host coming up. Sorry, guest. I can't even talk tonight. I'm gonna bring him in shortly.
But first, we're gonna get these bars off.
You're gonna get the ball.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Jose. Well, I don't want to be too loud just because last week I was trying to rewatch it just to see how I can improve, and it was like the first time we live streamed and I was just way too loud.
Yeah.
I wish there's a way we had someone like
Looks like
monitoring it from the others, like if there's a way to monitor it as we're talking and they can lift and lower the levels accordingly.
I know, man. I'm not exactly sure.
One day, you know what I'm saying? When we get our studio eventually.
Yeah. I don't know. This week's in a row now. The echo is not exactly sure. But I'm gonna go. Give me 1 second. Go ahead, talk.
What about you? You don't got any big news? You ain't got no news, Edwin?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't myself. Not yet.
I don't know, man. I saw some stuff on Facebook and I was like, yo.
Okay. Well,
Did my boy get laid off on his day off, like Greg?
What was that?
Did you get laid off on your day off?
No.
Did you put your 2 weeks in?
I did. So I'm working at the. I'll be working at a different company now. That is my.
A bank or something else?
Another credit union.
Is it workers?
No.
St. Mary's?
No. It's called US Electric. But I'll be coming in.
Is it the Navy one?
No. It's based out of New York, if I'm not mistaken.
Damn, you sell out, dude. You're leaving the hometown of Marlboro to go work for a New York company. Do you want a Yankees pillow? You know, a Mets hat?
That's fun.
Yeah. You like my jersey in honor of St. Patrick's Day?
I do.
Yeah.
Nice. I was wearing green myself yesterday.
I'm allegedly 30% Irish, whatever that means.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. 23andMe.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and bring in Echo's still there. I'm sorry, everybody. Echo. I'll try to fix what's going on. I'm gonna go ahead and bring in. Like we said, he's on the select board of. He's got a lot of ideas, and I'm gonna go ahead and do himself, and I'm gonna bring him in. Jose will be able to.
Yo, I have an idea.
Hey, Shawn.
Hey, Sean.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Oh, is that my mic? Is that a little better? Sorry if it's my feedback on you guys.
I think
it's a mix. But go ahead. We'll give you,
kind of explain about yourself a little bit and what you're doing.
All right, we'll roll from here. First of all, I want to say thank you guys, Mike and Edwin. Thank you very much, and Jose for allowing me to come onto your podcast. I've been watching it since you guys started about a month ago. Notice that it's like 3 really close friends who like to have a little bit of fun, keep it relaxed, and talk about the town. So basically, I'm Shawn Sadowski. I'm a 47-year-old Hudson kid. Grew up here, moved out when I was about 19, moved back about 5 years ago. My wife and I were able to come back into town, and I got involved in the town, the politics, and we'll catch up on that. But I come from a family that's been here for, let's see, my parents moved in probably 53, 54 years ago, and we've been here ever since. Family of 6 of us, 2 older brothers and an older sister. I've got 2 kids of my own. I got 2 grandkids that keep me busy, and they're wonderful people. Young kids, one's 11, one's 4, and that's pretty much me. I mean, things I do for hobbies are fishing and riding my motorcycle. So, um, oh, there we all are. All of a sudden, it just went to me on the screen. I was like, hey, where'd everybody go? So,
Where's your favorite spot to fish in town?
here in Hudson, I don't really do too much fishing. I'm a trout fisherman, so I head out towards Sterling and Holden and out that way. Hit the Stillwater River, the Quinnipoxet, hit the backside of the reservoir. They're all really good spots if you want to get some nice trout or some lake trout, or it's a lot of fun. I don't mind parking my truck and going for a walk. It's the only exercise I get these days.
So, you live in Hudson your whole life? Or most of your life?
Well, I grew up here. I moved out when I was about 19. Started a family kind of young, and then I moved back. Things didn't work out too well, and moved back with my mom and dad. And then I moved out when I was probably about 25 or so. Got custody of my oldest daughter and kept her over in Clinton because that's where she started growing up, and I didn't want to move her around. So I moved out over there, was there for probably almost 20 years or so. And then I got married in 2011 to a girl that has deep roots here in Hudson, and we were able to come back into town about 5 years ago. So it was heading back in, and we're like, welcome back to town, man. Nothing like being back in Hudson where you grew up and established your roots.
No, that's very true. Very true. I think the same could be said for all of us. I mean, currently we don't live in Hudson. None of us do. I live out in Clinton, actually, which is funny. Mike lives
It's a good
out in
town.
Worcester. Oh yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
Mike lives out in Worcester, and then Jose is actually all the way out in Maine.
Yeah, I saw he was out in Maine, so that's good. That's a good vacation spot. Gives you guys somewhere to go.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
I know Mike's visited him when he went up there.
But yeah, nothing wrong with Clinton. I mean, like I said, I spent 20 years there, and then we were, like I said, when I got married in 2011, and when my mother-in-law and father-in-law decided they were going to retire down to Florida, we had the option of coming here and taking over the house, and we're in the process of going to be buying it and everything. So
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I hear you.
Hey.
It's awesome.
All right.
I guess
little shameless plug.
Now that means we need one of those.
I only got 3 of them. My sister gave them to me as a gift. I was mentioning earlier, my sister is my treasurer. She's just hands down one of the best people around. Yeah, I said it out in public.
Text soon, like I have proof.
Yep. Oh, well, I commented something the other day about, it was National Women's Month, and I commented how the 3 wonderful people who are working on my campaign with me are all women.
Yeah.
And I said my sister was amazing, and right off the bat, I got a text message with a screenshot of it. See, I got proof. You said I was amazing. So,
awesome.
Yeah, and we're bookends. She's the oldest, and I'm the youngest. So.
Gotcha. So hey, there you go.
Yeah.
She's got the proof.
Yep.
I'm sure it would be the same for me with my younger sister. If I said she was amazing, she'd probably send me a screenshot saying, "Look what you said." But yeah. So I guess I'll dive in and just kind of I'll give you the floor again and just like, so why are you running for select board? Like I guess what's your reasoning?
My reasoning behind it is a couple fold. One, the guys that have been in there right now have been in there for a while, and anything that has a long term kind of gets stagnant on ideas, and I'd like to see a little bit of a change. And I'm not opposed to term limits if we want to talk about that for select board. I have no problem with that. I don't think somebody should hold power too long. My second reasoning behind it is I did some research on my finance committee, and I started out there. I got involved in the town because of, and I have no issue with the business itself, but the pawn shop that was in town started using the old police station as parking. And when my wife drove out of the side road one day, because we live right there, right behind it, there was a car that pulled out of the side road and was nothing but smoke coming out of there. So it was kind of a bit dangerous. So I contacted the police department, the select board, the executive administrator, and then I went and sat in front of the select board. Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
Oh, okay. It went to that one person screen, so I wasn't sure. So I sat in front of the select board, and my multiple actions with them in the beginning, I felt as an outsider. Sitting in front of them, felt like I had no business being there. I don't want anybody to feel that in this town. I want them to feel that they can go to anybody on that board and have a discussion and feel that their opinion matters. And I think I can do that for the people in town. So that's the main reason, is because I want to make sure that everybody in Hudson feels like they can have a voice.
I like that. No, I agree. I think that those are some strong reasons as to why you're running. And anyone running for the select board as well. I guess that's one of the main purposes I believe that we all try to, either run or get involved is to have a say into what happens with our town and with our community. Can you guys hear me well, by the way? I feel like I don't know.
You're coming in good.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, and you're not silent today. You got a good projected voice going.
There you go. Here, I feel comfortable now. I'm going to take these off.
Oh, I was actually talking to my wife. I'm like, he's wearing sunglasses. Maybe I should put them on and go, is this proper attire for today's meeting?
Yeah, I don't know if anyone heard me. I was pulling a Frankenstein from Big Daddy. I said I'm going to take them off and feel comfortable.
There you go. Just let's not throw any paper on the floor, okay? So, yeah, I mean, that's the biggest reason why I wanted to get involved. And I figured I'd start somewhere where it wasn't, and don't get me wrong, the finance committee is very important, but it allowed me to get an education. I didn't jump right feet first into the flames. I was able to get on a board and learn a lot. And you actually learn a lot on a lot of these boards. Yeah. And that also allowed me to get on another committee that was pretty much, focusing on what to do with the Packard Street, the old police station.
Yeah.
So it was nice involvement.
I feel like whenever I do drive through town and I see the old police station, I'm just kind of like, what's being done? And there's like lots of lots and buildings that I feel like haven't been touched in the last 5 years or so, and it's like, what are we going to be doing with those? Like, I feel like a community rec center or like a youth center could be open somewhere where we don't really have in Hudson, or we haven't really had.
We got the Boys and Girls Club, and again, it needs some more funding, maybe some updating. Unfortunately, because it's the Boys and Girls Club, it's not really town sponsored. Yeah. So we need to either A, look at trying to help them out, or B, getting them some more grants so they can do more activities.
So, let me stop, and I just gonna read some of the comments. I also want to let people know that if you want to be able to show your comment on the stream, it's just coming up as Facebook user. So you have to go to streamyard.com/Facebook. Once you go to that, you'll be able to allow, and it'll show your comment and who it is. So one of the comments, I'll go up. I know a lot of it was my echo and the sound. I think it's a lot better now. I'm not exactly sure why it just went away. I literally didn't do anything. I don't want to get too how would I say? I don't want to get into a conversation that talks about any other person, but like one of your questions on here was, what are your thoughts? I'll just, I'll put it on. what are your thoughts about Ricky Gellin, which I believe I know who that is.
Ricky is a gentleman who ran last year against Selectman Duplessis, and he was 41 votes shy. I personally have nothing against Ricky. I've had many conversations with him. I've stopped in the store, chatted with him. Very nice guy. Very nice guy. When he was unsuccessful last year in running for selectman, I gave him a little bit of advice. I said, you need to get involved.
Yeah.
And he was put on a committee. I think he's on the conservation committee or one of those ones. And that's a great place to start. He'll be able to find out how everything works. He'll make some good communications and some good relationships and build on those relationships like I have on the finance committee for the last 3 years. I've been able to talk to all the department heads and everything like that. So I think Ricky's on a right track, and that's where he needs to start and grow from there. Like I said, he's a nice kid. Talked to him several times, and like I said, every time I stop by the store, I always say hi to him. I even signed his paperwork so he can get on the ballot.
Awesome. We went to school with Ricky, actually.
Yep.
Mike and I. He actually worked at DCU while I was there for a little bit. So
okay.
But yeah, no, I completely agree, understand. I read his pitch last year.
Yep.
On trying to get into the select board, and I followed his page and kind of was following up on what he was doing, and those are great comments that you posted. I'm gonna continue on and say after that it was okay. More about the echo. Sorry, people. I'm so sorry. I don't know.
Echo.
And the echo is gone, so I have no clue, and I feel like I again, I want to apologize because it's now 2 weeks in a row where I feel like there's something on my end.
I think Mike was messing with you.
Maybe Mike was. Maybe Mike. Mike, I think you're muted, or you got to kind of speak up a little.
Me?
Yeah.
I'll grab the microphone.
Oh, there you go. Grab the mic.
Selectman.
Candidate.
Candidate.
So,
I guess there was a question.
How was the quality of the parks? Because I know when I was growing up, I spent majority of my free time at Mones Field, and I made connections with some people there. And it seems like almost every public park in Hudson has been neglected, at least since I've moved back here in 2000. So I just wanted to know what it was like when you're growing up. Is that something you ever thought of? Because they took the playground out of Mones Field, they took out the swings. But
well, I'll give you an update on that one. Okay, because I used to go to a lot of meetings and all the time, but now it's all virtual. So I jump online, I watch Park and Recs, I watch the selectmen's meeting every 2 weeks. I go to every much as I possibly can because I want to know what's going on. Growing up in town, my backyard was basically the St. Michael's ball field. Okay, I would go up the hill into the ball field and we would play baseball, frisbee, fly kites up there. And I played youth sports. I played baseball all in town through all the way up into high school. So we played on all those fields. Yes, they are going into disrepair. However, the next project after the Centennial Beach is going to be that field. They're going to redo it. They're going to put a new playground on it. They're going to go through it. They're going to finish the wall. There's a whole master plan for the Park and Recs department. And a little side note, they're also going to put a dog park down at Sauter Field. So
it's awesome because
or the football field, or just
I'm sorry, Mike, I didn't hear you on that one.
Is it going to be where the baseball field is, or is it going to be a different place adjacent to Sauter Field?
It's going to be off to the side more when you come in. I guess they have a concession stand down over there, and it's going to be off to the corner over there. I can't say exactly where it was. Steve Santos commented on the other week when we had our finance committee meeting. One of those questions was, what is that? Is that going to take place? Is it going to be put in one of these parks? And it's in the master plan to do it because the town needs it. it's another place for us to get those dog owners. I'm a cat guy. I got one. But, it's another place where, people in the community can go and hang out, outdoors, get outside, get away from the TVs, get away from the computers, get away, go out and enjoy family time, go out and have fun. Me, I like getting on my bike. My wife rides a horse, so we both have our hobbies. So we're both outdoors.
That's awesome.
So,
I guess I just want to add a comment, that I'm glad to hear that. I used to live right next to Moulton's Field. Mike can tell you.
Yeah.
And that field has not changed since I lived there. I think that the last time it was updated, like the little playground area, is when I lived there, and that was like 15 years ago. Like,
I played Little League on that field, and
So did
I've been out of high school for 30 years.
yeah,
So-
I mean, like that's one of the questions that Mike and I, or one of the comments that we wanted to bring up was, what's going to be done with, because I feel like that field or that area just hasn't been really touched, or there hasn't been much emphasis in it. But I'm glad that there is plans in the works, or it's already been started for Moulton's Field.
The major issue with that is the hill there in the wall. So they needed to get some engineers in to have a good look at that. Steve Santos, again, who is the director of the Recs department, handle that. He's an amazing person, really is. They got 3 people in that office, and he's out straight with the Centennial Beach project. And if you talk to him, he's one of those kind of guys that will try and help you out the best. And again, another relationship by being on a committee that you can form and get to know people.
So I guess I have a follow-up to that, which was kind of one of the questions here. So how do you get involved in the town? Where do you go to get information to get involved? So say for myself, I'm from Hudson, Mass. That's where I was raised. And say I wanted to get more involved with the community to give back, not just this show. We wanted to actually do stuff, get our hands dirty. Where do we go where we could, sign up or even get involved in the discussions?
Well, most of the committees that are in town and the boards, you have to be a current resident.
Mm-hmm.
And the best way to do that is just jump on the website, see what's open, see the vacancies.
Yeah.
And then all you have to do is go on the select boards page or the executive administrator, and there's an interest card. So you fill out an interest card for that spot, send them your resume, send them that, and you get an interview. And if they like what they see and think you're a good fit, you're on. Me,
Okay.
I want to see as much as possible new faces as we can get in there. We had an executive assistant search committee because we're getting a new executive assistant because Tom Moses is retiring. There was some controversy on that one where some people who have been in town and on committees for a long time were appointed to this committee when there was plenty of highly educated people that could have been put onto that committee. And I would have liked to see some new faces bringing in people into town. So I just got a text message from my daughter saying, "Where can I tune into your podcast?"
Let me go ahead and well, she can just tune into our YouTube if needed,
Yeah,
if she can't.
I'm
find
gonna
us on-
just send her a text message real quick and say H-Town Podcast.
Yeah, appreciate it.
My oldest daughter lives out in Rutland, and hopefully, if everything goes well this year and things calm down, she's gonna get married in June.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Married in January.
Well, she was supposed to get married last June, and then COVID obviously put everything on hold. So it was a little tough for that to happen.
Yeah. If needed, I also just sent you our link for the YouTube if she wants to just tune in on YouTube. Otherwise, we'll send her an invite for the page if she's not a part of it on Facebook.
Well, she's on Facebook, but I don't think she can see your page right now. But
Gotcha. Huh.
So,
So we have another question. Is
Yep.
What is the first thing you would like to accomplish if you were elected?
well, obviously, there's going to be a seat open on the finance committee if I'm elected. So first thing we'd like to do is get that filled because that's a very important committee. You touch everything. Give me 1 second. This wonderful thick book.
Yeah.
This is the Hudson Town budget. It is a fantastic read if you if you like that kind of thing. So that would be number one important thing to do. Number two is we need to look for proper funding for our safety departments. By safety department, I'm talking police department, fire department, and DPW. Yeah. And then always, as on the back burner on all our minds, is our water supply.
Yes. Yes.
So, and I'm very versed on that. So if anybody has questions on that, and again, I like the way you guys do things. So I'm going to tell you right now, no question is off limits. If it's there and somebody wants an answer, hey, that's what I'm here for. I want to be approachable. I want to be reachable. And if I don't know an answer, I'll find it out and get back to that person.
What's the difference between a selectman and a mayor?
It's the size of the town or city. Basically, a selectman is, or a select board or person or select woman. If you ladies out there want to run, because that would be great. It's made of, instead of one person being in charge, you have anywhere from 3 to 5 that make decisions. With the selectmen, you have an executive assistant or a town manager or a town administrator who does the daily basic, the day-to-day operations. Your selectman or your select board is that person's boss. So they sign off on all of the decisions.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Mike, do you have any other questions?
Hey, I got one.
Follow up on that, or
I got one. Where's Jose?
Yeah, I know. I just sent him a follow up. I think he was running late. He was doing something with his car, so we have all the
get detailed. And
yeah.
He said he would come in,
all type of
but he's always late. Even like last week, he didn't we did a little sound
Your
check.
intro?
In the intro, we do like a 30-minute before sound check to make sure everything's okay.
Yep.
Jose got on at maybe like 7:55 instead of like 7:30.
we try to go 15-20 minutes ahead, so that way we don't have these echoes and things like that. But sometimes we're not perfect, and we're this is our first run around with doing the stream show, and we're just going as we fly on, as I did with you earlier.
Yep, that was a good thing that we did that check, because I had to push a couple of buttons here.
Exactly.
And just so you know, my oldest daughter actually found it online. Hi, Ashley.
Yeah, give a shout out to any family, anyone on.
Actually, I can't see who's watching, so but I mean,
you have to look at
like
Facebook.
20-something viewers.
That's how I watch it.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's a good amount of views.
Mike, can you bring your mic up a little bit to your mouth? I think. Yeah. Now speak.
Hello, Edwin.
Better, Michael.
It's almost like a Peter Frampton concert. It's got some reverb going.
What's your opinion on the new Rotary? I personally like it.
Here we go.
This is the only reason why I like it, is because I hated when I was trying to go around the Rotary and someone would just go straight by me, like it's 2 lanes,
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that I liked about it, because that's
Well,
annoying. Like you're trying to go towards the library, as in, by Victor's Manor, and then straight across, and you cuts off like your sight or your line of vision.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you right now. At very first, I was against it, and I sat down. No. And I sat down.
Go ahead.
Oh, you're talking about the comment there?
Yeah.
Probably like a $150 combination with the mixing, but it's fine.
No, it's okay. No, continue, Shawn. Sorry.
I was against it at first, and I sat down with the community development director, Jack Hunter, and took a look at the project plans, and he presented everything to me, and I looked at it and said, "This is a great design." So I was for it at town meeting, voted for it at town meeting. Everybody complained that we were, when it was getting developed, and I kept saying, let it go through, just keep your hand up, and when it finishes, you're going to love this. Now, do I like the Rotary? Absolutely. I ride a motorcycle. Okay. Coming through that Rotary now, I feel much safer going through that Rotary than it was before. I almost got hit by a Plymouth Fire Department vehicle. Some cadet was coming through, failed to yield, and her driver's door was right here next to me. So that chief got an earful one day. I gave him a call. But I love the Rotary. I like the fact that it narrows down, and just so people don't know, that red brick in the middle is actually a truck lane. That is part of the road.
I know that.
It is designed. Hey, there's Jose.
There he is. You can continue though. I don't think. You
It's designed for larger trucks that, like 18-wheelers who want to go around, can actually get on and around the Rotary safely. So when they see a truck go up on it, it's actually designed for that. Now, the truck we had stuck the other day, no, it was not designed to go the wrong way down the road. And they're looking at that actually so they can get the truck routes that aren't planned from Hudson. It's actually planned through private companies, so they know that that's an obstacle and to come in a different way. But I love the Rotary. And believe it or not, I'm a big fan of the outdoor dining for two reasons. One, it brings everybody into the community. I mean, just out there. You can see it. You can see how bustling our downtown was before COVID hit, and how once we were able to open up, how much we had outdoor dining and brought some back. And two, it's extra revenue for the town.
Yes, definitely.
There's no permit fee, but the more the restaurants do better business, the better the town's going to make out.
And the exposure. And
Yep.
I will comment to this. So I lived in Hudson for a long time, until I was 20, 21. And I could tell you 10 years ago, like I live where I think it's called the Vidya now, a Vidya Bank. It used to be Citizens Bank.
Well, that used to be Hudson Savings Bank.
Yeah. And then I lived right there.
So you were up on Church or Pope. So that did used to be Citizens, yeah.
Yeah, so I lived right there, and you couldn't tell me how many times I would walk down the street just like for a night walk at like 9:30, 10 o'clock, and the town is a complete ghost town. No one driving through, no one walking through because everything is closed. And then prior to COVID, like my wife and I, we probably went to go to probably get some food somewhere, and just so many people out and about, shopping either at Medusa's or at the Creamery, as well as Rail Trail, and it's like you just see so many people in the town. Actually feels more alive. And
don't forget to go a little further down the road to Ground Effects Brewery too. Those guys are pretty good.
Oh yeah, I mean, I haven't gone.
No,
yet,
but but you're absolutely right. I mean, it has changed. So can we just stop for 1 second? Jose, nice to meet you. Oh, he's on mute.
Muted.
Jose, I think you're muted, or it's
Sorry, I apologize. How am I coming in hot? What's going on? Sean, nice to meet you, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir. And an honor to have you with us. And I've been listening to the conversation thus far. So yeah, happy that you're here.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Stuff like this it's still very humbling to me that people want to hear what I have to say.
I think it's very important for us to hear what you have to say. One, because I'm sure you're an awesome person, but because you're directly connected to this town that we cherish. We all grew up there, and we want to be able to support in any way possible and contribute. So anybody who is on the same vision, right, we want to jump on that and be able to support and talk as a collective, right, and then see how we can discuss, and learn. Above all, and then see how we can come up with ideas, as a team, as a collective, and see what's really going on with this town, beautiful town.
And you know what? And to just jump off on that, that's probably the best way for a town to work, is a collective, to grab a bunch of ideas and figure out what's best for the town. Not everybody has the right answers for everything.
Right.
So if you work as a group and you come up with the best solution for the town, not for me, not for Mike, not for Edwin, not for Jose, not for my neighbor,
Yeah.
but
Right.
what's going to fit the town the best. You know, I have no outside interest in this town except for the fact that my parents still live here and I live here. That's it. You know, and my work is in town, so I got a 2-mile commute every day. So, you know, I keep my truck mileage low. You know,
I hear that.
but other than that, the best way is for everybody to get together. You got an idea, get a hold of somebody, give them the idea, run with it. You know,
Yeah.
that's another way to get involved.
Yes,
That's
sir.
that's how you start conversations as well.
Yep.
That's how organic conversations start, and that's really, to promote us a little bit. That's how we started this. It was just an organized conversation. I do wanna
Organized?
get organic. Sorry. Yeah.
Nice.
I do want to get on to the comment. Somebody here, hold on. With funding constantly tight, any thoughts on how we can control cost and not increase property taxes?
Sure. Well, believe it or not, the property taxes in town for the last, I want to say since 2017 or so, have been dropping. Now, people are going to say, no, my tax bill is higher. Yes, it is. The rate is lower, but because Hudson's such a desired community, you see the values of the houses in town, what they're at. So your assessed rate is a little bit higher. As in keeping a tight budget and funding, last year we did a 2% budget cut, and we cut out some of the capital equipment, and we dropped some of the articles at town meeting to hold off because of COVID and because of the budget. Now, we were able to survive with a 2% budget cut, and our budget this year was kept at that rate. So if we can keep our budget at that rate, the problem with that is we still have contractual obligations for pay raises and cost of living expenses and that. So we can't really control that. But if we can control our 2%, keep it that way, it's going to keep everything lower. So.
Awesome.
Yep.
And
again, that's where being on the finance committee has absolutely helped, because I got to learn stuff like that.
And you said you have to be a resident to be on the finance committee. Right?
Yes, you do. On a lot of all the committees and boards in town, you need to be a resident. Yeah. But you can still volunteer in other aspects. They do, community cleanup around the rail trail and everything. Yeah. Or hey, if you want to come out and hold a sign one day for me coming up, I'll let you help there.
Hey, I'm willing to offer my services in any way, to help and support. So we can chat after the show about that. I do want to get into another question real quick, unless Jose has a question.
Go for it, Chief. I definitely have conversation, but go for it.
Okay. Are there any changes you'd like to see with the school department or committee?
Yes. Yeah. I've heard a lot from, now my kids are older. They're grown up. They're 28 and 24. They don't live in town. So the school, I'm disconnected a bit from the school. So I rely on communication, talking to parents. I even put out there on my page, I do a Friday topic. I put it out there. Usually yesterday I would have done it, but today I knew we were having this, so I was kind of going to, and it's, somebody asked me that same question. One, I want to see them tighten up their budget a bit. They are over 50% of our town budget, and a lot of towns have that. Are teachers underpaid? Yes. I don't, you see a sports star over here that's, making $15 million, and the teacher's getting a hard time getting supplies in their school. Yes, I want to make sure that the fact that our teachers have their supplies and that our students are learning, and we've done that. They've got their Chromebooks, they've got their tablets, but the day-to-day supplies. Second of all, I'd like to see the school turn in an on-time budget. We're not going to see their budget until next week. Now, that gives us a few days to set up a meeting. It takes 48, you got to post the 48-hour previous before you can have an open meeting. So that puts us into the middle of next week. Everything has to be turned in for town warrant. I think it's April 6th, I think. So it's cutting it really close to last day. We need to get that. Third of all is they're looking for a new building. Now that's going to cost the town some money because the old building is not ADA compliant. It's the old one over off of Manning Street, corner of Apsley. What was that?
It's Lake and Apsley.
Yeah. That's it used to be the old school way back in the day. There's no elevator in it. There's no ramps. There's no ADA compliant bathrooms. If they redo that building, it's $4 to $5 million. If they build a brand new building, it's $10 million. Now, there's a simple solution. Well, they'll turn it into something else, possibly affordable housing, veterans housing, or something. It's a beautiful building. I'd hate to see that one taken down. Yeah. But there's an easy solution. You drive up on Technology Road, okay, up by Shaw's and everything.
Yeah.
Take Cabot Road. Cabot 1 and Cabot 2 are empty. Let's lease a building.
Yeah.
It saves the town so much money. Yeah. Plus, we don't have to pay for maintenance because it's not our building.
Yeah.
And we eminent domain the building.
Yeah. Take it later, right?
Shawn, what is the opposition that you see with an idea like this, right? Or what kind of opposition do you see or do you hear with an idea like this one?
One, they don't want, I'm going to see right off the bat that we don't want to lease a building, because we won't own it. We won't be able to do anything to it. That's all workable in your contracts and your leasing agreements. You want to build office space, it's in your lease agreement. The biggest thing I can say is they're going to be like, well, what do we do with this building now that we own? It's still our property. You're right. It's still our property. We could turn it into senior housing. We could have a contractor come in and put a bid in, and lease it out, make it another, obviously this town is expensive to live in. Nobody can deny that. We could turn that into some type of another affordable housing, which, by the way, is what's going in at the old police station. So there will be a 35 to 41 unit, 2 buildings, which will be very well fitted into the neighborhood because, again, another committee I was on that we talked about it, and there was I think there was 12 of us on this committee or 10, and we just looked at what we wanted to fit in the neighborhood. So you do something like that with an old building, but you can save the town a ton of money if you don't go and build a new one or renovate that one. You can just lease it.
What do you think are the reasons why other ideas, or not other ideas, other views have done or have gone a way where it has cost more money, right? Like renovating or building a new structure. Why do you think people want to do that? Or why do you think people have done that in the past who have been in position?
Because that's the way it used to be done.
Okay.
We can't do that anymore.
Yes, sir.
And again, it's one of those things where somebody had an idea and, okay, well, that's what we used to do. And as I mentioned before, the better way, and you pointed this out yourself, Jose, the better way to do things, community, get together, get a bunch of ideas and figure out what works best.
Yes, sir.
True.
There he is again with that sir. Oh, come on, man. I work for a living.
I think we're all like that. It's just through
it's because I'm older than you guys, right?
No,
I mean, we went through this the other day. You guys are in your 30s. I'm like almost pushing 50. So,
yeah.
I see what it is.
It's because we say start at even our own age. That's just the respect thing. I feel that
and you know what? I was brought up the same way, and I got a couple of the neighbors that my parents still live next to, and it's Mr. and Mrs. and Mr. and Mrs. And they always tell me, no, my first name is, and I went, yep, but you're still Mr. and Mrs. Because that's the way my parents brought me up.
I saw that you had opposition talking about the old police station.
you had opposition to the business that's currently there right now, or was at some point.
Well, I
Uh,
didn't have opposition to the business.
Yeah.
Okay.
just the
What it
location.
what it was is the first pot shop that was in town up by Highland Commons up on the other side. They were using the police station as a parking lot.
Hmm.
Now, my opposition to that was, again, two issues. One, the people were bringing the product back, using it, and driving it away.
Yeah.
Second opposition I had is you were bringing that product, and I have no problem with that product. Used properly, it's legal in the state. It's great for pain medication. It's great for, glaucoma, whatever anybody. Hey, you want to try it? It's legal. Go right ahead.
Yeah.
My problem is less than 1,000 yards from a school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did see that.
Yeah. So
No, and
that's when I spoke in front of the selectmen, and that's when I felt that, sometimes I felt like I shouldn't be there, and they presented it that way, that it was none of my business,
Yeah.
and that was actually put together by, the parking wasn't actually approved by the select board at the time. It was thrown together by the former police chief, and I forget who else had a hand in that one, but it was just thrown together, thrown there, and when we questioned why it was done, well, we'll give them a permit now. It's like, no, this shouldn't be done. First of all, you're moving all that, right? And then they didn't have police details out there, so you had major traffic.
yeah.
So we got them to do that, and then it took us about 2 months to get them to move it from there to down over on Houghton Street, where they had a shuttle going back and forth, where it wasn't next to a school.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I completely agree.
Yeah,
I
I have no problem. I have no problem with the business.
No,
Okay?
no.
We get a lot of tax revenue from that business. I think the number this year was close to $350,000 in taxes just from them.
There you go.
So.
Any investors out there, now you know.
Well, they got a second one. Now, the development location for those are only up by the Highland Commons.
Yep.
It's out that way. It was voted at a town meeting to have them only use that area for retail shops. Now, I think there's currently 2, possibly a third one coming in for the growing and distribution plants, which we also get tax revenue from. So, hey, you want to do that? You want to start a business? There's areas in town where you can do that. We get 3% of every transaction.
Yeah, and that was I was going to put up one of the questions now that you kind of went into. That was, are you able to help the small businesses with COVID relief, or is that more a state issue or state funded?
It's more state funded through the CARES Act.
Yeah.
Your small businesses are able to get payroll help with that. You're able to, there's different PPE clauses in there that you can file for. As far as local funding, it's not so much small businesses, but the Affordable Housing Trust was actually putting out, during COVID, they were helping people with their rent, and you had to apply for that, and they would give you a certain amount every week or month to help with the rent, because it is tough. I fortunately, and I thank every day that I went to Assabet, and I had mentioned this before on one of your other broadcasts. I've been a machinist for 31 years because of Assabet, and because of what I do, we never slowed down, because we were making medical equipment or medical equipment or defense or something like that. We never slowed down. I am one of the fortunate that never had to take time off. Other people, I can understand, very hard times. So if we're able to, as a town, take some of our CPC funding and put it into a trust like the Affordable Housing Trust did, and help somebody out with their rent, by all means, let's continue to help our residents.
Yeah. No, agreed.
All right. Second shameless plug.
I told them we need some of those.
My sister, who's actually watching with my nephew, got me this cup. She actually got me 3 of them. So that's my sign, and she had it done as a sticker.
Shawn, Michael, do you have any questions?
As far as downtown, because that's like the main attraction of Hudson now. Would you be opposed to like having like a public market type thing? Because I live in Worcester now, and like the Rotary area kind of reminds me like of Kelly Square, like how the since the baseball stadium is being built, they're revamping that whole area, and they just put in a public market not too long ago.
So
Like,
are you aware of the farmers market we have in town?
yeah, but that's just like in front of the like a public
Well,
market would be like booths and stuff, you know. Like
well, I
people,
have no problem with the shops downtown, and we have abundance of them. Use your sidewalk.
Yeah.
You know, the only thing I say is leave a little bit room or enough room where our handicap,
Yeah.
because my dad uses a walker, or people who use wheelchairs, you got to be able to get around that. As far as bringing your product out to the sidewalk and having a day or two for, a full public market or every weekend, if
Yeah.
that's going to help our businesses downtown, absolutely.
Or maybe even something organized for the town where, late in May or early in June or something like that. It's something
Have,
played for
have a
like
sidewalk
Friday,
sale.
Saturday. Exactly.
Yeah.
And like any store on the side, in that area is allowed to participate, and you set up like you said, a booth, displaying your product, and it's kind of like a fair, if you will.
Yeah.
Is that
No, Mike.
completely possible? Is that
Oh,
there's no
absolutely.
opposition to that?
No, I mean the sidewalks are large enough,
Yeah.
and even with the new sidewalks that they put in for the Rotary area, they're huge. I mean,
Yeah.
they got outdoor dining on them now, so you can take certain areas of that, and you can put boutiques or something that have the shop right next to Vic's Diner.
Yeah.
There's a small boutique that can use the outside sidewalk to set up a booth, set up a table, set up a sale rack. By all means, help that business out. But let's also not forget that downtown is not the only businesses we have in town.
No,
So
of course.
we need to focus on the entire town, and a little bit too much attention has been driven downtown.
Right.
Yes, it is a main draw, and it is revitalized, amazing. But we need to focus everywhere.
That was
Is
one
there?
of my follow-up questions was what can we do, or what can the town do to put more emphasis on the businesses and stores not downtown, as we said, that's like the main focus when you drive into Hudson, or when you hear about Hudson, you hear about downtown, that Rotary area, and all the stores that have opened up with the breweries. What is something that the community or townspeople can do, possibly to bring up to the select board, if you have any ideas?
Well, I noticed that my daughter just posted one up there. Clinton has an old home day. Hudson has something, not so much of an old home day, but we shut down South Street all the way down to Broad, and we have all different types of vendors or anything that comes in. More community activities is what I would say, and we shouldn't just do it on South Street. Have 4 or 5 of them and break them out into different areas of town.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you just do it on South Street, you're only concentrating on the downtown.
Yeah.
So if we move it and have it spaced out different areas, we can do that.
And I feel like the second part to that is just promoting it so that people know where to go.
Right.
Because the other thing
promotion.
Yeah.
Social media is a big thing these days, and I'm finding that out because I can't go door to door and shake your hand or walk up to your street and hey, how you doing, buddy? Long time no see. Give you a big hug or something. No, it's a lot of this is avenues like this, or my social media push. I have a wonderful social media helper, Judy Condon, retired lieutenant firefighter here for Hudson. Great person. Just absolute wonderful person. She's spirited. She has helped me immensely.
We've chatted over the last few days, and she's
Shout out to Judy.
A very, very nice person.
Yeah.
I'd like to someday meet, with the whole COVID restriction and everything. But I mean, I think that, like you said, with the social media platform and along with the promoting is the biggest factor. And like I said, not to beat a dead horse, it's just I feel like anyone that comes into Hudson, all they know is the Rotary. All they know is the downtown area. And if there's any ways that the select board or even the community itself can promote to go towards these other areas so that they can figure, I feel like a lot of people just think that's Hudson and that's it. And it's
Oh,
like, no,
Hudson is
Hudson
so
is
much
huge.
more than that. I mean, you get into the little neighborhoods back and around here, like when we grew up. I mean,
Yeah.
that is what our town is.
Exactly.
It's the neighborhoods. I remember growing up over off of Edith Road, Pre Street, kind of that area down there.
Yeah.
There was tons of kids in the neighborhood, and it was, literally you move the hockey net or the baseball or the basketball net, car, game on.
Yeah.
That's what Hudson is.
Yeah.
And it still is when you get one street over from me here. I turn the corner, go down the road, and there's the kids playing with the hockey net. It's great.
Yep.
That's community that we need. You just can't focus on the downtown. And that's one of the reasons why the housing in this town is going through the roof. It's because of communities like this. It's because of the school system and everything like that.
Yeah.
I see that one. You want me to answer that one?
Main Street.
Main Street is actually not a town-owned road. It is Route 62. It is a state-owned road, so the state would actually have to set the speed limit on that.
Yeah.
Oh. Go ahead, Mike. Sorry for cutting you off.
It's fine. Hudson has a lot of diversity. You can't really tell it because we're all kind of either European or Latin and with similar skin tones or whatever. But I would love to see Hudson have more ethnic parades and stuff, like a Portuguese parade or Guatemalan or Brazilian, even Puerto Rican, just to bring more pride into the community because there's a lot of different people, Irish, Italians, French, Portuguese, Puerto Ricans, Guatemalans, and it would be just good to see more of that,
Yeah, we have a wonderful mix in this community. I mean, some people will say, we're not diverse enough. Okay. But if you actually look, diversity just isn't skin tone. Diversity is financial. Diversity is, whether or not you have kids or you don't have kids, or it's all aspects of everything. But Mike, you bring up a great point, and all you got to do is just like the Portuguese clubs does, file a permit. Let's have more parades. Let's bring that in. Because that right there is going to make everybody in this town feel like they are involved. And that's what we want. Yeah. Now that's a great idea, Mike. Now we just need people to come up to the select board and say, hey, can I do this?
Edwin, talk to your cousins.
Talk to my cousins?
Oh.
No, I mean, we can promote it as much as we can on our show and our Facebook page. If anyone in Hudson wants to follow up on that idea that Mike just had,
just little festivals, why not? We have
why not? I mean,
20,000 people now, probably more.
2020 census should be out. I think the last census, we should be somewhere around 19.5, somewhere around there.
I think it would be a great idea. I mean, I know we're still in the middle of this pandemic, and it looks like we're pushing towards getting back to some type of normalcy. But I mean,
it looks like we are getting back to some type of normalcy with this, the pandemic and the vaccines. And I'm just going to make a quick comment on John's comment here, where he says it's dangerous with the cars speeding and the kids crossing in the crosswalk. We had the police chief DePercio on for our finance committee the other day, and that was actually brought up. One of our committee members said, hey, I see a cruiser down there, but he's not doing much. Well, you're going to see more interaction with that because they're starting to, we wanted to protect our first responders, keep them healthy, keep them safe. So they kind of pulled back a little bit, but you're going to start seeing them out there in effect and starting to put a little bit of patrol on that. And that was a concern. So.
What about the winter parking ban?
That's a tough one.
Because it hasn't really snowed a lot, And it can snow up in May. It can snow in April. I'm pretty sure it ends April 1st, right? And begins
Yes.
November 1st.
November 15th to April 4th or something, or April 1st or something like that.
And then people
Um,
live on Felton Street. They really don't have any street parking or any like parking lots. Jose can,
I,
because that's where he grew up.
I think we do need to take a little bit of a look at that. We can turn around and say,
Left, right?
we got good forecast,
Yeah.
and we know snow's coming in. Let's set the band from, if it's coming in on a Thursday night, Wednesday through Saturday. Give the DPW. Those guys work very hard when it snows in this town.
Yeah.
They're out there 24 hours to get everything cleaned up. Give them the time to clean that up. Then park your cars. But that might be something that we need to revamp.
Yeah.
Framingham wants to have even odd parking. So like right now, if it snows, I can't park on the even side of the street, but I can park on the odd side of the street, which gives them opportunity to clean it off. And then you just have to dig your own car out and eventually the snow melts.
Yeah, but up like on Felton Street and Polk
really-
Street, it's real narrow. So
Street,
The
yeah.
one ways.
Yeah.
One way streets.
I think if you do something like set a 24-hour before, 24-hour after kind of thing, it might be workable. And that's another thing where you could talk to the DPW director, Eric Ryder, who's top notch on his field, and that'll tie into the next water bill question because Eric handles all that.
Yeah,
Bring
and
it
my comment to that was, I feel like when a lot of people bring that up with the winter parking ban, it's like a lot of people bring it up as like a complaint or like an issue, but it's to be able to resolve it is we all have to come together and figure out a solution. So if it is something like you mentioned, Wednesday to a certain other day, then we know not to park there, and there isn't going to be any conflicts or issues. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's going to be that 1-2 people outlier that don't listen to the rules that are put in place.
But remember, every complaint or comment is the way to find the solution.
Yes.
So if nobody's complaining or nobody's commenting, apparently everything's running right. We know that never happens. So let's keep that communication back and forth, because that's the only way we're going to get the town to run better.
Yeah.
Well,
All right. Bring that.
Do we want to talk about that one?
Yeah,
So,
go to that one.
Let's talk
All
about that.
The sewer rates and water bills. Yeah, that's been a hot topic in this town. We're currently going through rebuilding our treatment plants. There's going to be a little bit of an uptick on our prices because of that. We did just inherit the Chestnut Street well from Boyd Coating, the new filtration plant. And in order to change out all the media in the filtration plant to get rid of the PFAS, all that contaminants, it's roughly $250,000 to $300,000 every cycle that we got to change that out. We did get a settlement from Boyd Coating, which gave us the filtration plant down on Chestnut and gave us, I think it was $1.6 million paid out over 15 years or something like that. So we get another $125,000 a year towards our treatment plants. Again, more facts you find out when you're on a committee like the finance committee. Great place to start for somebody who wants to really, really dive in and get involved. There's a warrant article coming up in the spring that was originally $250,000 to put on the new treatment plants and the media. That got changed to $375,000. They added another $125,000 because we have to put it on the warrant article in order to spend it. They give us the money. If we don't appropriate the money, we can't spend it. So, and the town has to do that. So our water bills and our sewer bills, yep, I pay the one here at the house too. I actually shut off my sprinkler system because I'm not using it because the water bills are high. I barely wash my truck, which really kills me because I like keeping my vehicles clean. I don't drop them off at the detailer. I heard somebody was there today.
I can explain that one,
but yeah, the water bills are high. But you're going to see over the next several years, you're going to see, I think there's an uptick this year, next year, the following year, but the year after that, it's going to start dropping down because, the bond is going out to get paid. And as that starts going down, then we can adjust our rates accordingly. Hope that answered that question.
Oh yeah, I hope that answered the question.
Do
I just
you
want to put a comment? I guess someone put, Shawn, you have a lot of support from the employees in town and the blue collar residents of Hudson. In what ways will you support the middle class residents and workforce in town?
Well, one, we got to make sure everybody gets back to work. And that's a little beyond, town government. But, one, let's, and it's not going to be a popular opinion, but we can't give all these businesses tax breaks all the time because that puts a strain on the residents here that pay a lot of property tax. Okay, so we need to look at that. What was the second part of that question about the town employees?
He was just saying that you have a lot of support from the town employees, and then in what ways will you support the middle class residents and workforce in town?
Well, as support from the town employees, well, it goes 2 ways. We need to support our town employees, because they are the ones out there making sure that our town is beautiful, safe, and protected. Our DPW goes out there every day. They clean the streets. They pick up the trash. They, cut all the grasses. Our fire department, which is understaffed a little, they're out there to making sure that all our emergency medical calls are responded to, all our fires are responded to. Our police department's out there making sure that we're crime free, that we have and Jose, I know you touched on this a while ago. The drug problem in town. We've got to step that up a little bit. That was laxed with the previous chief. The new chief is we just got a grant for a canine. Who's going to help with policing in town. Great grant, pays for everything, including kennel costs, food, veterinary medicine, stuff like that. Supporting the workforce in town, again, it's getting everybody back to work once this horrible pandemic is over, where we can finally get out and, visit our favorite restaurant and get that restaurant back up and running, go places, help the mom and pop store that's, you stop in for your coffee every once in a while, or, the gas station that your friend owns, you travel and more, you spend more money in town. And that's the only way to help everybody out. My wife and I, we 1 to 2 times a week, we get takeout, and we go to either a Chinese food place or order someone else, and you leave just a little extra. I can, because I haven't been out of work. My wife hasn't been out of work either. So we can leave just a little extra on that tip. You know why? Because somebody might need it, and I got a little extra here,
That's one of the biggest emphasis on support as well. When you, as you said, some of us have been without work, and that's the support that they need. They need a little extra cash, in their pockets to make sure that their families, surviving, and that, their business stays up.
Yeah.
And that little bit that we may not think of, just leaving a little here and there, if more of us did that, that's keeping them afloat until this pandemic is over and we're able to, go back to some type of normalcy.
Oh yeah, and all those people out in the restaurant industry, and school teachers and grocery store workers, and all, they never stop. They're working, and I used to bust my butt. I was a door guy checking IDs. Now I'm 5'5", and I used to check IDs. Okay, I used to bar back. I used to waiter. I used to bartend, and I was a junior manager. All of one of the better places downtown Hudson. I'm sure you all been to it on Salt Street. So I used to work there for a long time. So I know it's tough. And before I was married, I was a single dad raising one of my daughters. I got 2. One of them lived with me. I had 3 jobs at one point in time because you had to do what you did. So I know that little extra helps. So if I have it now and I can leave a little extra for somebody else that's going to help them, why not?
Definitely.
Cruz.
Follow
Somebody here said, "What makes you stand out over the other candidates?" I don't know who the other candidates are.
Yeah,
Uh,
I was gonna leave that as the last thing, kind of
okay, we'll
Well,
leave. No, no,
with
that's
a
fine.
bang. So
That's a good one.
we'll leave that as
I'll
We'll
just
an ending.
we'll
I'll
give
make a
it
quick comment on that one. It's certainly
1 minute
not my height.
of. Hey, I agree with you on 5'2", 5'3" on a good
He's
day.
like 4'11", but
Hey,
yeah.
you know,
Hey, I was 4'11" all the way through high school. I hit a growth spurt after, and I got to 5'5".
That's fine. No. I do want to let you know, Jose, we were given the green light that any question is on
any
the board,
question is green light,
Any
right? I
and
did
any
you're
hear.
question,
you're
man.
the king of the questions. So
All
I
right.
want to be one of those people that you can walk up to, have a conversation with. And I told Edwin earlier, I usually carry this little notebook with me.
Okay.
Okay. So if somebody comes up and asks me a question, I'm going to write it down if I don't know the answer. And I'm going to find out that answer. And no question is off the table.
Okay. Well, let me read something that Jay said. She said, other than the food pantry, is there any other way to help families in need right now? Um,
Um, there was, and I don't know if it's on still, and I can find out and get back to her. There was a rental assistance program that was run through the Affordable Housing Trust that you put an application in, and they did a little bit of a background check to make sure that you weren't just, somebody, hey, they're giving away free money. They wanted to make sure that it went to a resident of town that went and helped them with their rent. So that was a way that they were helping people. There's a food pantry. I know that there's a church down on Main Street, right two over from Vic's Diner, that does food. They help also. They put packages together. Um, I got a call from Lisa the other day. I'm going to have to, I got to just think back. And it was when we had a major snowstorm. She gave me a call and said, "Hey, we're up at the senior center. I just drove, or one of the. It was not the senior center. It was up on Brigham Street Estates up there, that area, the senior living."
hmm,
And she gave me a call and said, "Hey, there's people up here whose cars are not shoveled out. And they're elderly or handicapped. What can we do?"
yeah,
I said, "Where are you?" She goes, I said, "Let's try to get some people involved." So it ended up being myself, her son, and her husband, and her that were up there shoveling cars out
yeah,
to get some of these seniors out of there, because all they had to do was get their car out so that the housing authority could come in and plow it. So we shoveled it out so they could get out. But it's, and then she was able to contact some other people and get like the Boy Scout troop or some ROTC to come up and help. So it's small stuff like that yeah, it's small, but how much did that help that one person out?
immensely, because
Yeah.
I guess from that experience though, is there anything that you've taken with you and kind of have either brought it to the board as an idea going forward for the senior homes or the senior centers where there's vehicles that are you know stuck, or when there's big snow days, and there isn't plows that assist them out, where there's like a, how would I say, a program where maybe someone can sign up to assist that way. Like you
Well,
said, like you got a call and it ended up being you and a few people and
Well, I
you
didn't
know,
make the call. I got the phone call from
yeah,
somebody
yeah,
asking me for some help, and she set everything up. And I believe she was looking into that exact type of program. She was going to work with the housing authority to put up a sign up sheet that people could sign up and say, "Hey, I need my car shoveled out," and they were going to work with like I said, the Boy Scout troop, the ROTC, and anybody else who wanted to volunteer. Um, Again, great community we live in. That we got a bunch of people that'll do this.
yeah.
So just stuff like that. I mean, and is it something that the board can handle? I don't think it belongs at the board. I
Yeah.
think it more belongs at the housing authority, who can do that kind of sign up sheet and get some volunteers.
Okay.
what um what kind of encouragement could you give to the youth? Jay wrote. She wrote something about the youth or the younger generations.
Oh, where's that? Oh, here, give me 1 second. It was, I think a lot of people, especially younger people, don't get as involved out of fear, much like you to be looked at differently, like we don't belong.
See, now that's a problem. All right, we want them to belong.
Mm.
You're as much as part of this town from day one when you move in. I don't care where you lived before.
Yeah.
Okay, you could come from Canada, you can come from, Florida, you can come from Europe. The minute you move into this town, it's yours.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure that those people get involved, or who want to get involved can. And it all stems back from community outreach. We were talking, and actually I wasn't talking. He was on the selectmen's meeting, and it was the chief of police, DePercio, who mentioned he wants to start something like Coffee with a Cop.
Yeah.
I think that's great. It's wonderful to get that police officer out there, get that lieutenant out there, get the captain out there, get Chief DePercio out there himself, and interact with the youth. They got to realize that they're not here to bother you. Okay, that officer is here to make sure that everything in this town is going well, so you can live in this town peacefully. They're a great group of guys. I have no problem stopping and talking with them. They're people just like you and I. For the youth who want to get involved, come on, just let's get you involved any way we can, from youth sports to after school programs to even I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, we were at the town meeting, and there was a young girl who got up and asked a lot of questions. And I was very impressed the fact that the youth got up and asked a lot of questions. So that person there had a great teacher. And that's where it starts.
Yes.
It starts with that teacher telling them, hey, you can do anything. And we need to continue that. Get the youth involved in politics in town. And I can understand politics is at some point in time very boring, but it's the day-to-day monotony that has to be done. But if we can get more community outreach to get the youth involved, get a basketball game going with the fire department or the police department or the DPW guys. Yeah, it's going to have to be volunteer time. But if you're that invested in the town, a couple hours here and there volunteering to help a community out, to talk to, that young kid who might want to be a cop, who might want to be a firefighter, who might want to be a machinist, who knows? It's talking with them and getting them involved that makes them feel a very part of this community.
You just gave me a great
Maybe
idea.
getting a tournament together at Moulton's Field.
Once it's redone, let them redo everything first.
No, a police versus firefighter charity game at the high school.
There you go.
The town owns the high school, right?
Yeah.
You have to pay a court fee or whatever. You get it.
Yeah. Well, I think they do hockey games, don't they?
They do at the New England Sports Center. I think it's the firefighters versus the retired.
Is it the alumni for the Bruins that they go against?
I haven't heard anything about that.
Yeah, but no, that might be a good idea for the fire department versus police department basketball game, or how about a wiffle ball game?
There you go.
Kickball?
Kickball? Yeah.
I said
So-
kickball, sure.
Talking, Edwin, if you don't mind, I'm gonna dive into this one. So the essence of this project, right? Real conversations. That's basically, how everything sparked, and the drug addiction and everything around that is a major issue, and it's not only important to me or to us because we belong to this town, but because personally this has affected our town deeply.
Yeah.
Right?
Very deeply.
And we've lost one is too many already, right?
Yep.
But since it hit, it just kept going.
Yeah.
And year after year, it's
Our
not,
graduating class is now in the double digits.
it's unacceptable in the sense of it's just,
It's a tragic loss.
it is.
Anybody
So,
is a
do you guys
tragic
are
loss.
feeling as if we could have done more as a community.
I
for these
think
individuals.
Right. Well, let me give you my thought on it, right? We understand that, you know, I think there's going to be a drug problem in every town, in every city, in every community. There's no denial in that, right? Where it's just
It's everywhere,
it is what it is, right?
and it doesn't discriminate either.
Right. It reaches everybody. And I personally feel that, we understand that it reaches those who are the most broken or vulnerable, or like you said, it doesn't discriminate, but there's a correlation. Um my challenge or my observation is that I feel as a community or as a town, there wasn't a lot of help, a lot of options for the youth as they were growing up. And it wasn't a problem until it was a problem, and then it was too late, right? And I feel to this point, I've been outside of Hudson for a little while now, but I feel that even to this point, there's still, or you can correct me if I'm wrong, but there's still not enough being done. How can we involve these kids who don't have the support, who do not have the love, who do not have the well balanced homes, or the parents, or you name it, everything that contributes, right? What have we done, or what can we do differently? What are we going to do differently? Or what's your input on this, right? I'm sure you have a lot to say, or I know
I
this.
got, yeah.
um
Again, it
and
touches everybody.
and I
You know,
feel that, man, the businesses they're going up. uh Main Street, they're kicking it, they're rocking, right? The businesses, they're rocking. Some families, they're striving, and all the power to them, all the power to them. But what about the youth? That was a question 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and it's still a question now. Aside from the Boys and Girls Club, that's all news, right?
right?
And we can still do more for that program as a collective, or the state, or wherever the fundings come from. But that said, is that all we have? What else can we do?
Well,
Um,
let me dive into a little bit of that. I loved the podcast you guys had with your buddy. Was his name Seth?
Yes.
Who was the addiction specialist?
Yeah.
And I touched on a little bit of something when he was talking about, how could he help the community, bringing in more people like that. Like they're those people are godsends, because they are going to help more and more. The police department got involved a little bit with this. They backed off a little bit from everything. You're going to see more enforcement on this, especially with the canine that was brought in. But they did bring in, and I want to get the name of this properly, so I'm just looking it up on my other computer screen. Okay. They brought in a program that's called Jail Diversion Program, and it's a social worker who works with us and one other town. She's here, I think it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and she's with the other town on Tuesdays and Thursdays. But if whatever town needs her, she can be transported back and forth to those towns. There is a large number of arrests that weren't made, because she was able to go in and talk with the people who are having the issues with the drug issues, getting them the help. I personally asked the chief the other week, do we need somebody like this on staff full time? Yes, that was the answer. Because somebody like that, a social worker, and again, our police department, and I don't want to dive too much into that because that's not the question, they're changing roles and they need more help. And help isn't always putting somebody in jail. Help is not always throwing them in handcuffs, stuffing them in the back of the car. Help may be sitting down with that person, talking with them, finding out what the right cause of that or the root of that problem is, and figuring how to help that person out. Now, is a police officer trained to do that? No, not right now. That's their whole changing aspect of the town. Is a social worker trained? Absolutely. So if we need to bring somebody like that in to help our youth to get more of, and I don't know, I didn't have the DARE program going in to school back, 30 something years ago. I don't know if you guys had it, maybe more involvement with that. But it might need to be revamped a little bit, because it could be getting old and stale, that, it's not up to date, where kids aren't getting interested. We need to capture their interest. We need, and they're starting again this year with the sports and the activities in town. The recreation department did a online gaming. We had like 40 something kids from town. We get more involvement in town activities, keeps these kids active, lets them know that they're cherished, let them know that they're wanted, let them know that they're, build. Jose, your big thing is building people up. I love that. It's great. You take these kids and you build them up, and you don't knock them down. You don't tell them they can't do it. You start these programs and you let them go through it, and you tell them, build them up, build them up, build them up. They're less likely to have that issue. Less likely. Is it inevitable that some of them may? Yes. That's when we need to get programs like our health department involved, and our social worker involved, to help these kids out so we don't see them going down that path.
And I think Jose and I and Mike talked about it when we had Seth on the podcast, and we remember the DARE program when we were growing up. I'm not sure what happened with Jose there. We remember the DARE program growing up, but I feel like as we more mature, as we matured, or as we continue to grow, like Jose said, the help wasn't there. It was kind of like, you learn this program and then that's it. If you had any questions as you grew up, you reached out or you had questions, but there was nothing there.
Yeah, but how comfortable did you feel reaching out?
I don't think anyone, well, I wouldn't say anyone, but I don't think that it didn't drive its point across to everyone. And I feel like that's where it failed. Like, if it doesn't drive the point across to literally everyone, then I feel like we're not doing as much as we can, or that program wasn't doing as much as it could. And I feel like it fell out of, how would I say, it kind of fell out of,
Kind of petered off for some people. Kind of
yeah. And then it was kind of never revamped, or, we had the same system in for the last 20, 25 years. Yeah, maybe tweaked here and there, but I feel like there was nothing really looked at, or maybe, not every aspect of youth, elder, middle age, all looked at it and said, yes, this program is working, where no one as a collective came together and said, what needs to change, or what can we do that's better? And I think that's one of the reasons why, as Jose said, 10 years ago, this was a problem. 20 years ago, this is a problem. 30 years ago, when you were in high school, this was a problem. Even,
Oh, yeah.
We want to basically make sure that in 2030, that this problem is still not as great as it is now.
We also want to make sure that if the problem is here, that everybody, and you may not be able to, or feel as comfortable talking it in public, but we want to make sure that they have the avenues that they can go down to get that help, or to pull somebody aside and say, hey, I'm having a rough day. This is going on. And again, and that's where, the social worker comes into handy. That's where and I'm going to touch on it again, the ever-changing roles of the police officers in town, or, even the firefighters. Those guys, they're great to talk to, because they see, oh my God, they see, the car wrecks, the fires, everything like that. They can help out a lot. And again, sometimes it's just an ear that needs to be, chewed on a little bit to make somebody else feel better. But the mental health issue, and right now it's a big thing too. If you look at some of the studies right now, because of the COVID, because of everybody being locked down, the issues are expanding. So health departments right now are tapped out. There's so much contact tracing. We got our health department, Kelly Kalo, we got her a bunch of help with a couple of contact traces, so it frees her up a little bit. She's still busy as heck, not as much because our numbers are coming down. Everybody's doing what they need to do, but yeah, it's got to get them the right avenue, the right help, somebody to listen. And if that means bringing on a full-time social worker to work with our police department for the jail diversion program, I am all for that.
Yeah. Do you think, like Edwin was talking about DARE classes or the DARE program? I took the DARE program in 6th grade, and looking back on it as this conversation today is going, I'm thinking that might be a little too early to start it, because when you're in sixth grade, you really like doing that is kind of far from your mind. It wouldn't be more into like eighth, ninth, 10th grade when you start like getting more freedom, going to house parties, start socializing more. You're around more people who can get more things. I think it would be more effective, or maybe it wouldn't be, to just start educating in high school, like this, like, because they're old enough to understand the severe side effects of just choosing that path. Because
I think it needs to be continued into the high school. I
Right.
think, I think sixth grade is pretty a good avenue. If you watch what's on TV, these kids are playing the games on computers. They're searching YouTube. They're still hanging out at the park or the skate park or anything. And, and like we touched on, it's everywhere.
Right.
So it's not going to discriminate between any of us on here. It's not going to discriminate between our ages. It's going to go everywhere from, that sixth or fifth grader all the way up to, people I know today that are my age. It's that continued education, I think, needs to follow from sixth grade on.
Yeah.
So they can, and again, revamping it or tweaking it a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who the DARE officer is now, but it's a simple reach out and talk to them and say, hey, what's going on with this? Can we extend this program? It's talking to the police chief, who's very, very good and easy to talk to. He's very responsive to emails. Great guy, rose up through the ranks. He wants to see this town succeed. He wants to see our youth be healthy. He wants to, everybody in this town does. And I think it's an avenue where you need to fall and not so much move it to 8th, 9th, 10th. I think it's started out in 6th, touch on it, but it's continuing education that's going to help.
I think the way that I guess I'm perceiving it or interpreting it is, I think the way that Mike was saying is, when you introduce it as sixth grade, or when you introduce it to people or kids that are 12 years old, is that how you're? Yeah, I think like 11, 12.
11, 12.
They don't understand the severity, because a lot of kids are just like, I don't do that now. What? I'm not doing that. And they pay no mind to it. But as when someone or John commented, it ends in 7th grade, but there's no follow up to it. So I do agree with you, Shawn, where I feel like it needs to be introduced in 6th and 7th, but it really needs to be emphasized when they hit high school, 8th, 9th, 10th grade.
And that's where the program could be revamped. So you could have one that's set for 6th and 7th, where it's, touching on this, a little bit more. But as you get into 8th, 9th, 10th, it dives a little deeper into, the effects on your brain, the effects on your body, the long-term effects, the spiral that it can bring you down. And, and that, again, is where, it needs to be helped with the youth, and the social worker, the DARE officer, the public health department, push on all of this. But it needs to be continued on.
Yeah.
And again, that could be a funding issue too. But there are grants and everything out there from federal level for the war on drugs, as we'll call it.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think following up on that, like leading into I guess another topic is, along with the drug addiction, how someone mentioned in the comments, a lot of it has to do with mental health. And I feel like now is where mental health is probably being more focused on, as to back then. Is talk to your guidance counselor if you're feeling sad, or talk to your guidance counselor if there's something going on at home. But there was no emphasis or really support to children, to actually speak out and to, allow their emotions to come through in what they're feeling. And I feel like, along with the DARE program, that should be something that's emphasized as well to the youth. Even under high school, this all starts with the bullying, and it starts with kids, problems at home, being from a broken home and all that. But I feel like there should be a program, or maybe extended to DARE, or maybe not extended, separate from it, where it allows to focus more on mental health, especially in young boys.
Yeah, that's I'm lucky enough that my parents, they've been married for almost 54 years or something. But yeah, mental health is an issue. I mean, there was times, when I was raising my daughter, doing 3 jobs, living on my own. And I'm in my 20s. We all have our days. And the younger crowd has their days also. And you're right, Edwin. They absolutely need an avenue. And it may be outside of school because and that's that whole bullying thing, or that back in my day it was called hazing, but it's a different attitude, it's a different aspect today. That may be where the after school programs come into handy, where you can have a one-on-one with a guidance counselor, where your fellow students don't see you walking into that office, and tomorrow they're going to be like, hey, what were you doing in there? We don't want that, because that's only going to stifle somebody, and that'll bring the downward spiral. We don't want to stifle people. We want to build them up, let them be able to have that avenue. And if that means going to talk to the public health nurse, or the school nurse, or the guidance counselor, by all means, let's get them that avenue to do so.
If I can speak like my own personal experience, guidance counselors really only try to get you for college. When I was in 8th grade, I was a warden of the state, as they would call it. So I had like the DCF funding to like help me do whatever I wanted. And they actually got me an anger management counselor who did more for me in, I want to say, like 3 months of just going and talking to him and him just like explaining things to me, helping me out, than I think any guidance counselor could. And I could just be an effect of the guidance counselor just kind of having a whole school worth of kids to focus on. But I would like to see someone like that in the school, like anger management, who's like specializes on like a bully, because bullies have problems at home and they're probably taking it on somebody else. So if you could get to that person, that might stop some trauma going on to another person.
Well, over the last couple of years, they have slowly brought in some social workers and some public health department into the school systems. So, I mean, that it's a start, and we need to, maybe make that more. And again, I'm not in touch with the schools because I don't have students in there. So I'm relying on communications from parents who do have it, but maybe some more communication about, hey, this service is available. All you got to do is just shoot us an email. We'll meet with the student. We'll meet with the family. That kind of stuff needs to be kept up with. And it all starts there. So the bullying, and find that avenue. Find out why that person is having that issue, why they're picking on somebody else. There's a fine line between making a joke here and there to full on bullying. Is it that line? Is it the full on bullying where that problem needs to be addressed, or is it just two buddies joking around? But let's get some of that more social workers. Let's get some more of that mental health, back into our schools, because it's needed.
And just as a comment, I mean, I know with the social media, it makes it 10 times harder. There's this all this type of bullying that wasn't around 20 years ago.
I'm gonna label it for you. I call them keyboard warriors. Because behind the keyboard, there's no consequences. But people don't realize that there are consequences in real life behind that keyboard.
And I'm not sure. I don't know if there's a solution for that or a correct way to go about it. But I just think, just starting a conversation to figure out ideas is what needs to be had. And it's as simple as us just doing this.
And conversations and complaints is where solutions are derived from.
Exactly.
Yeah, but like I said, they've been bringing in the mental health aspect into the school system, because I think they realize it's needed. So.
Agreed. Jose, you look like you have a question or
No, I would say, right,
Yeah.
with our conversation thus far, I would say that we can all agree, and Shawn, you would be that guy, right? You would be the guy who would have the possibility to make changes, or to have this town or this community go in the right direction. So the matter is not that if it needs to get done, right?
It's when.
It's more how, and we do need to do something about it, right?
Yeah.
Um, and obviously, like you say, right, conversation and complaints. And I would say, to me, my biggest concern is the youth. My biggest concern is the generation that's after you. And it's not if, because I feel like we already know and it's established we've lost too many young souls and hearts to know that it's not an if, it is a problem. And how can we keep these kids busy? How can we get them the support, the love, the help that they need?
Yeah.
And how do we do that, right? And how can we come as a community? Because I feel like it's not just you, it's a collective opportunity. And I'll put it there, I'll leave it there. Opportunity, it's a collective opportunity for us as the young generations, such as Michael, Edwin, myself, our whole class and the class before us, to come together and say, all right, now we have a say. We're not little kids anymore. Now we can contribute. Now we can talk about these things. Now we can push something forward. It would be people like yourself, people who are in position to go in the right direction. It's people coming together and realizing, just because it's not a problem in your home right now, it doesn't mean it won't be a problem when your kid is now 9 and 10 years from now. It might be a different situation. Or parents who are going through that situation now, to say, it's not just about my home, it's not just about my circle, but it's a collective issue,
Okay.
because it's just a matter of time till it becomes your issue in your front yard. Maybe at some point it was someone else's issue, it was someone else's kid, it was someone else's parents. Now it's on you, right? And I
Well, Jose, you just made it into my little blue book here.
feel
Okay. Because I just wrote down, as I don't know if you heard earlier, we have our financial meetings with the school department coming up. So I just wrote down in my book here to ask the school department about mental health issues, social workers, and what we can do to help the students at an earlier age with these issues. So
Right.
that is a question when the finance committee meets and we're talking with the school committee and the superintendent, that I am going to directly ask him.
Thank you.
So,
And I'd like to have you back on for that answer.
I will write that answer down and
Bring you back on.
absolutely.
And I want to touch on something, Jose, that Shawn brought up earlier in the night. Was it really also starts with us, our generation, the generation that is, in their late 20s to early 30s, for us to speak up and go to those meetings as well, and bring up these conversations, and not just feeling either fear of bringing them up or feeling like we don't have a voice or have empowerment.
No, I want you to have a voice.
Yeah,
I want you to be able to sit in front of that board, that committee, or any meeting, and feel like you belong and you can speak up at any point in time. Because if that issue is a concern of yours, you're not the only person. It's a concern of the towns. It's a concern of the community. And let's, we are a community. We have neighborhoods. We have great relationships with everybody. And that's, if it's affecting my neighbor down the street, it's not, just because it's not in my front yard doesn't mean it's not an issue.
Yeah.
So it needs to be addressed.
Definitely.
See, I told you, no topic off the table, I'm one of those people that you ask me a question and I tell my bosses right at work, I'm like, don't ask me a question you don't want to hear an answer to.
Yeah.
I usually
on this show.
You don't want to.
What was that, Mike? I couldn't hear.
I usually say to people, don't ask me questions you don't want the answer to.
That's what exactly my comment is, and my boss will say that. He kind of gives me a look. I'm like, because I know you're going to ask a question and you're not going to want to hear my response.
Yeah.
It's going to be the truth and you may not want to hear that.
Yeah. And I feel like we do a good job on this show of we want, any questions that we ask, we want those answers, regardless if it's, a positive impact for us or a criticizing impact of any way. Like, that's what our main focus and point is, to have these deep, real conversations that Jose loves to bring up as well. And that's why I call him the king of the conversations.
I have watched a lot of them, and I've commented on several of them, and it's, he's Jose, you're a bright light, the conversations you have and you bring up and the questions you're asking and your concerns, they're all legitimate concerns that need to be addressed, whether it be up where you live, where Mike lives, where Edwin lives, or back here in Hudson, because it's all happening everywhere.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And I feel like we can take things from our towns or cities that we currently live in that probably they have that isn't brought to smaller towns and see if maybe something like that would work. Because as Hudson is a small town, but you know the way that it's being marketed and the way that it's being built up, it's like a small city.
It's getting there. Yes. Yep.
So,
With the development of downtown, larger developments coming into town, the possible of I think it's 180 apartments being put up on Tower Street at the old mill building, if and when that ever gets done.
wow.
Well, they originally wanted 290, but it wasn't legal for 290. So I was at several meetings on that one too, and we talked about that. And again, it's getting involved because one, that brings infrastructure, that brings more kids into the school, it brings use of roads, it brings use of water, so it affects everybody. And just because it's not in my neighborhood, it's still going to affect me, just like a drug problem, just like community relations, just like youth sports may not be in my neighborhood, but it's still part of this town.
I just want to display this comment.
Yep.
So some people look at drug addicts and say it's their fault and have no empathy, or they don't care and say that they did it to themselves. But regardless, if they did it to themselves or not, it's sad. There's a reason they turned to drugs. There's reasons that need to change, and those addicts need to know that we do care.
And that's a great comment. And to go off of that a bit, there's a warrant article on this spring term to give $20,000 of town appropriated money over to the ARC over Marlboro. Why Marlboro? Because that's where the community center is for drug addiction and alcohol addiction. Great program. It used to be 10,000. We stepped it up to 20 because why? They need more help. And it's places like that are going to help people. But if they don't know about it, they can't reach out and get the help. So again, the more we can, support and promote, there are places like that through our public health departments, through our school systems, and I think at that point you need to reach more higher in the high school age, because as Mike pointed out, I don't think it's 6th and 7th grade that it's that much of an issue. It might be a small issue, but as you get up into the junior or senior year or sophomore year of high school, that's where you see more of that problem. So if you start pushing that, hey, there is this avenue where you can go talk to somebody, and they've got the proper funding.
Yeah.
Again, funding.
Right.
And it's only $20,000 that we're giving them. But there's been a couple people on different meetings that speak how it has changed their lives, and that's all you need. You just need that one opportunity to change that one person's life, and the 20 grand is going to go a long way to help them.
Amen to that.
Definitely.
Shawn, so all right, did you talk about the police force already? I know
I have not touched on it yet.
All right, so I did, I was reading in your bio and a little bit on your page, and you brought up a couple things that you want to do differently, right? I think one of them was in regards to the vehicles, or in regards to something in that subject.
Well, the vehicles were all town issue. Yeah,
Okay.
the town issue. I'd like to see more green vehicles, smaller vehicles. Not everybody needs a Ford Explorer.
Right.
Not everybody needs a full-size pickup truck.
Yeah.
You can get away with small little, Ford Escapes or something like that. Kind of one, it costs less. Two, it's better on gas mile. Gas cost, repair costs are less. That aspect there. That was the town issues.
And
Okay.
put the funding into other areas.
Right, and it can free up some capital equipment for other areas. And I'll come right out and say it. The funding I'm talking about for the police department.
Yep.
And that was a major concern with some people. Says, hey, you want to fund the police department? You want to give them more guns? You want to give them everything? No.
Yeah.
No, they have what they need for tactical equipment.
Okay.
My funding for the police department, and if you look on the police department's page, and this is the only time I'm going into my notebook, see, because I wrote it down. They did a fair and impractical policing policies. It was a refresher course for all the officers on how to do their job fairly, how to be impartial, how to take the whole discrimination, take everything out of their job, and just how to do their job right. And training is what we need, because their role today is changing. There was and we all know that the Police Reform Act of December 2020 was passed. So those bills or those laws are coming into change. They're going to need more training on how to be a social service, because that's what they're answering more calls on domestic violences, and how to solve an issue, how to talk to somebody who's a victim, and make sure that they feel safe enough to talk to the officer, because they're in blue, they're carrying a gun, they can be somewhat intimidating. I'll tell you right now, you can take the toughest guy on that force, walk right up to him and say, "Hey, how you doing?" He's going to be like, "I'm doing great. How's your day go?" But it's their job is under a microscope right now, and every move that they make is scrutinized. Now, do we have the same issues as Chicago or LA or anywhere else? Not in Hudson. Is it heading this way? Who knows? But we need to make sure that our officers here in town are trained for it and it's not if, it's when it happens. That's the funding I'm talking about. They already are mandated. I think it's 2 times a year right now, and possibly with the police reform bill, it's going to go up to 3 times a year that they're going to have to be firearm certified. So that's a whole different aspect. That's federal funding. That's federal law. That's aspect. My priority is, again, dealing with mental health of the community, where the police officers are 99% of the time the first one to respond to an issue like that. And that's where that social worker who works with the jail diversion program comes into play.
Yeah.
She may be able to come in and help that person instead of putting them in handcuffs and taking them away. Get them to the avenue where they need, to see a psychiatrist or a social worker or a drug or alcohol program.
Correct.
That's the funding I want to see through that avenue.
I support that.
No, very true. There was
okay. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. If there was just a question, but if you want to follow up,
go for it.
It was, what do you think about harm reduction versus abstinence approach to teaching the youth about drugs?
Well, I don't think an abstinence program is going to work, because if you put it out there, people are just going to be like, let's see. I think more of a harm reduction program or an education on program of what the long-term effects are is a better way to go against that. Education is the best thing, and if you start looking at, like, we'll talk firearms, we'll talk tobacco, we'll talk alcohol. If you educate children on all those 3, they're less likely to pick them up.
Yeah, agree. I think a balance in education, right? Education on how things work, or just really, right? Like a real conversation with children in regards to any subject, really, to any matter, is very important. Shawn, do you have anything specifically that you would like to talk about? Aside from the questions that we may have, or anything that people have brought up, or that any.
Can I grab my notebook?
Sure.
I told you I was doing this without. I have no paperwork in front of me. This is the only thing I've kept off to the side. I want it to be more off the cuff than with an honest answer than, I already wrote. Touched on the. Yeah. This was it, right here. and you guys have asked every question that's already on this page. So, I personally, I'd like to see, like I said, the funding for the police department and their training.
Mm.
I think we need to do a study, and the fire chief has asked this of the select board on manning for manpower. The manpower in the fire department hasn't been changed since the 80s, and the town is growing.
You
You
mentioned that they're understaffed, correct? Is that, I think you said that earlier.
they are understaffed as the size of the town. Okay. Currently, I think they just, and you're going to have to excuse me for a minute. I got to pick my brain here for a minute. There was a couple firefighters, or one who just retired. So they're filling his position with somebody who's going to the academy or has already been to the academy, and he's going to be there very shortly, if not already on.
Yeah.
For the size of the department, there are 2 lieutenants and 6 firefighters on, covering 2 stations. There's 1 lieutenant and 3 firefighters per station. Now, the other day there was an accident down on River Road in Berlin, that area, which they were short-staffed because somebody was either on vacation or called out sick. Everybody does it for work, and that's what you earn that time for, which is absolutely fine. But once that staff left the department, they had to call in more staff to cover the department in case something else happened. So we need to look at whether or not manpower is needed. Chief Johannes just got permission from the select board to file for a SAFER grant, which would possibly, and there's, I think the number is like 300 in the country for these grants to be given out. If we get one, could possibly pay for 4 firefighters for, I think it's 3 or 4 years. But after that, then the town would have to pick up the full cost of it.
Yeah.
And in 3 or 4 years, who knows? We may need that. We may, the town's growing. We just put in the and I don't know the name of it, the end of 290, there's a 55 and over community with a mental health wing or an Alzheimer's wing.
Yeah.
The Point here in town, which is over by Walmart, that newer buildings that may be going up on Tower Street that are going to be 3 to 4 story wooden structures, not brick, wooden structures. We want to make sure that we have the manpower in town to make sure that, everything is safe. They are getting a lot of medical calls. So if they're out on a medical call and we get a fire, we've got to rely on, 1, calling back our fire department, paying some overtime, and 2, calling in mutual aid. So if we can have the staff on, that may cost a little bit more for the year for the town. If it saves 1 person, it's worth it.
Hmm.
And I just got a message that we have Mr. Krogan is our dare officer in town. Detective, I believe. He's a wonderful guy. I talk to him a lot. Again, another officer in town that you can just walk up to and just say, hey,
Yeah.
And one of the issues that I see with that is a lot of these, people are saying cops are bad, don't go talk to them. It's got to be the other way around. They're not bad. Are there some bad people? There's bad people in every walks of life. But for 99% of them, it's like me. I ride a Harley. Okay.
Yeah.
Does that mean I'm in an outlaw gang?
Yes.
It must be, right? Because I ride a Harley.
Yeah.
Does that mean I'm unapproachable? No, because 99% of those people who ride motorcycles, you know what they do the most? Charity
Town
work.
workers. Oh, I was going to say
Charity
town
work.
I was gonna say
We do more charity on a motorcycle. We go, we did a Home for Troops ride this year. I do it every year with the local group out of Leominster. It supports, building homes for troops. We do kids rides. We do a bunch of stuff. But just because I'm a dirty biker with tattoos, doesn't mean I'm not an approachable person.
Yeah.
I'm the kind of guy that if you walk up to me and want to strike up a conversation, let's do it. and they are the same way. Every one of them on that department, from the chief down to the dispatches, you can walk up and say hi to, and they'll give you the time of day. I'd like to see that changed.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. Break away that stigma.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do we have any more questions?
I have one final question, unless you guys have anything else to ask Shawn, or Shawn, if you have any questions for us.
Yeah, well, can we do this again? It's great. I'm not even nervous sitting here talking to you guys. It's like talking to a couple of guys that I went to school with or something. It's
Yeah.
self promotion again.
There you go.
And that's how we like to have the show. Is we like to have the organic conversations, and we don't want things to sound scripted or like where we're trying to get something out. We just want to have a conversation, all four of us or three of us. And
that's one of the
life.
That's one of the biggest reasons when we did the test on the video to make sure everything worked.
Yeah.
I did exactly this to him, guys. I went, "This is my table. See, nothing in front of me," because I wanted it to be, honest. I wanted it to be coming off the top of my head, that I didn't have things prepared. It's, what I've said since I joined the finance committee or years before that is the same thing I say now. It may change a little because I've been educated a little bit more, or somebody has had a great conversation with me that made me look at my opinion and go, "Hey, I may not have been right. They have a better argument."
Yeah.
So, and that's how you get great, honest, conversations.
Definitely. And
we asking for his pitch now, or we wait?
Well, the last question for me is, what makes you stand out over the other candidates, and why should everyone vote for you?
Well, as I said before, it's definitely not my height. But it could be my sense of humor. No, I think I've done this the right way. I think I've got an education on how things are done and how things need to be changed and what needs to be changed. And the relationships that I have made over the last few years have grown. I've been able to talk to a lot of department heads, just even making quick phone calls here or there or sending an email here or there. A couple of years back, I started a Facebook page. It was called Hudson, Mass. Today's Issues Facing the Town. And it was all because I wanted to inform people on when meetings were happening, what agendas were out there, who was on what committees, and what the truth was about stuff, because I went to a lot of meetings. And I go to a lot of meetings, because that's how you found out. People looked at me and they said, "Hey, you must have an inside track. How are you finding out this information?" I go, "Review the tapes. It's me sitting in the front row at the selectmen's meeting. You see me, I'm there a lot. I found out my information. I find out how to do things. I've talked to people. I've built some relationships. Have I pissed some people off? Don't we all? But it's because my answers are I'm not your typical politician. I haven't been in town government for 30 years. I haven't done that. I'm the kind of guy who is, again, graduated in 1991 out of Aspen as a machine shop and have been doing it for 31 years. I'm your neighbor. I'm the guy who's going to listen to you, that you got a problem. I'm going to figure out how to help you with it. I'm going to try and figure out what's the best for the town. And I'm going to try to figure out how we can keep our taxes low, how we can get our funding for our proper departments, where some things need to be cut, what's right, what's wrong. And again, I have no outside influences other than the fact that I live here and my parents live here.
Yeah.
So I'm in nobody's pocket. I'm in nobody's, I don't owe anybody any favors, and you're not going to get any favors from me because that's not right.
There you go.
I love the answer.
That's the only thing I can say. I'm me. This is how I am, and that's what I bring to the table.
Yeah. I love the answer. I mean, just explaining who you are, and we did a little bit of background research a little on you. Just no, nothing bad.
No, I know.
So we prepared ourselves as to maybe what talk. I know we don't write down like a script or anything like that, but like just to see, and just talking with you over the last 2 hours. I know, can you believe it's been 2 hours? These conversations.
Holy crap!
We say
It
say
is.
it every week, and it's just a bunch of guys getting together, talking, and time goes by, and clearly we're not boring.
No.
And it's like just the answers that you provided, and someone being from Hudson, all of us being raised in Hudson, and we all think the same way that you're kind of bringing those ideas, and we love to see change. We'd love to see a change, and I'm gonna piggyback onto what my wife said. She's keep us posted on when we can help with any signs or any type of rallying, anything that we can do to help out.
Well, I appreciate that. And this time and day, it's like I said, 95% of my stuff is done social media. That picture of me in my truck was actually, that's my new truck. And I got signs on the passenger door, the passenger fender, the driver's door, the driver's fender. I'm putting another one on the tailgate. Yeah, they make them out of aluminum now, so I had to buy these. The magnet doesn't stick. But as far as sign holding going, I'm going to start putting together a volunteer list and time and date. We're going to schedule that. And you guys had actually inspired me to do something a little different on my campaign. And this is breaking news, dropping with you guys. Okay, so I'm going to clue you guys in. Dun, dun, dun. Wait, do we get that sound effects yet? Come on. I actually got a subscription to Zoom for my campaign, and I have been talking with my campaign team, and we are going to do a BYOT. It's called Bring Your Own Topic. So those who have questions for this candidate, I'll have a link up. We're going to probably start that within a week or so. I got to nail down a date. And we're going to do that because that's how we're going to outreach and get in touch and keep everybody interactive and keep them informed.
Let us know when you start that. That way we're able to promote it on our page as well. And anyone that's able to, see that message and then they're able to join your Zoom or even come up with questions for you, any way that we can help. I think that's awesome. Thank you for providing us that breaking news.
Yeah, I held on to that one because we wanted to announce it, and I'm like, no, I'm going to be on the show. I want to, throw something nice, their way because they're giving me the opportunity, and it's my opportunity to be on your show because this is a great platform for anybody, but. You guys could have simply said when I said, "Hey, I'm interested in coming on," you could have said, "No, we want nothing to do with that." But I am humbled by the opportunity to come onto the show.
Oh, of course, and it's our honor to have you on the show as well. Any way that like we've said in the past shows, any way that we're able to support or help out, any way for our community, that's what we're doing, and We've had inquiries on people being on the show, and we don't like to turn anyone away if they're bringing something to the table that needs to be heard.
Look at this. Oh, let me see.
Oh,
I don't know
okay.
Judy is calling me right now, so after I get off this line, I got to call her back because she's going to be like, "Why did you announce that?"
Well, I think it was a smart move because I what I'm learning from all the comments, there's people who got to know you a little bit more and got to know where you stand in regards to the town and your views, your perspective, and like Edwin said, keep us posted so we can throw that out there and people can be able to tune in or connect with you directly. And if you want to let people know how they can help you or if they want to vote for you or when does that take place, how is this gonna break down as the run continues? How can you educate people on that?
Can I answer this for a second? Tell her I'll call her back.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Hi, I'm still on with them. Can I call you back? She's mad at me.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me call you right back. All right. Bye. Yep. Told you exactly. That that was that's not right. No, but because it was actually her idea. I will give her all the credit for it.
There you go.
I wanted to do like coffee or something, but with today's day and age, you really can't do that.
Yeah.
So Judy came up with a great idea. Again, great addition to the team, along with Amy, who's helping also, and my sister, who's my treasurer. Great additions. I tried to do it all myself,
Yeah.
and and you just can't. You need a team, and the ladies I have on my team are wonderful.
Correct.
As far as your question there, Jose, voting is May 10th. It's on a Monday. It's town elections. We hold it differently than the November elections. If anybody would like, they can go to my page. It's Shawn Sadowski for Select Board of Hudson, Mass. All my information is up on that page, and we will start putting more information up there. And we'll have I'll ask for volunteers, or they can just send me a direct message. I'm very responsive on messages. If I'm not, Judy will get back to you and say, hey, currently he's at work right now. He'll get back to you. Then she sends me a message just to say, hey, you need to look at this. Somebody sent you a message. It's, again, great communication between her and I, because that's the only way I can get things done.
Right.
But yeah, if they want to help, just let me know. We're going to probably start holding signs once the weather gets a little better.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I don't want anybody out there in the cold weather. I don't want anybody, standing too close. Yep, that's my Facebook page right there at the bottom for that. All my campaign stuff goes on that. I don't have a web page because, to be honest with you, you get more action out of social media on Facebook. We do have an Instagram. We do have a Twitter account. I'll post all those. Again, everything is linked onto that page there. But yeah, and what a great avenue you guys have here for allowing me to come and speak today.
Thank you,
Thank you
Sean.
so
I
much.
appreciate your time and all the information.
And again, I'm one of those guys that you can just really, if you see me on the side of the road, you see my truck parked somewhere that has my signs on it, and you've got a question to ask me, come ask me. If I don't have the answer, it goes in a little blue book.
Yeah.
And I'll get you that answer, or I'll point you in the right direction on who to ask, what department to head to. And again, that's all knowledge that I've learned from going to different meetings, being on a committee, who runs what goes what avenue, who does the paving, who does, the downtown licensing for the outdoor dining, who takes care of the parks, and it's all education on who did what. So again, a little bit of the pitch. and don't forget.
Hey,
I guess
Yeah.
the last thing would just be accountability, as to whatever happens ahead. Um, hold you accountable, right? Like we will hold you accountable, as the town will hold you accountable for everything that was spoken here, and just I'm sure you hold yourself accountable. You strike me as that kind of person from the 2 hours that I've spent talking to you. And I think the vision or the outcome is that we want our town, this beautiful town, to grow in all the different avenues, in all the different ways, from inside out. And I think that's what we say here, right? If we're gonna start anywhere, then let us start from inside and then work our way out, and it starts with real conversation.
Accountability is huge, Jose. Yeah, absolutely. And that's why we have voters,
Hmm.
because voters hold you accountable. If you're not doing a good job, you're gone.
Yeah.
And by right, that's exactly the way it should be.
definitely.
If I'm not doing a good job and my term comes back up, well, first of all, if I'm not doing a good job, I want somebody to stop me on the side of the road and say, hey, we need to have a conversation that you're not holding to what you said, needed to be done.
Hmm.
Hold me accountable for my words,
Yes.
because that's how things are going to get done.
Oh,
And
Jose
then,
will.
hey, anybody can, and anybody should,
Yes.
because as a
Correct.
resident of this town, whether you're a renter or an owner, you have the same say on that voting booth. and you have the same say at meetings. And that's, if I'm not doing what I said I was going to do, you come right up to me and say, hey, time to check it.
Sounds good.
So.
Well, Shawn, we thank you so much for being on the show. Like I said, it was our pleasure. It was our honor.
The honor was mine, guys.
I got one more question.
Okay.
It's the end of the world. What's the last song you listened to?
Oh, I knew this one was coming.
I think you answered the comments before.
Lately, I've been on Amazon a lot, and I've been listening to music. And Hailstorm has a great song called "Here's to Us," and it's basically all the times we screwed up, but we still made it. Here's to us. And I actually my wife was talking earlier about different songs, and she brought up Hailstorm, and I said, "Oh no, you got to hear this one." And I played her that one. It's basically saying, even though we screwed up, we stuck together. Here's to us, because nobody can break us apart.
Hey, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. I just want to throw out there that Judy.
Like, oh man, I don't know. You had it right at the top of the head.
The Humpty Dance.
I just want to throw out that Judy said the Humpty Dance. She told me this earlier in the night, and I laughed for a good 2 minutes. Because, hey, go out with a party. You know what I mean? Like, you're going out. You might as well go out on a high note. So.
Yeah, why not? Right? That's pretty good.
Very true.
Uh-oh. What was that 100 one? Who posted that one? Thank
100. You. He spoke the truth.
Well,
Leo Labello.
Okay. Well, thank you. That's what you're going to get from me. Again, don't ask a question you don't want to hear the answer to, because the answer that's going to come out is going to be just like you heard tonight. So, but I wanna just end this by saying, Mike, Edwin, Jose, I appreciate what you guys are trying to do and what you're doing and how you're opening people's eyes to different aspects of the town and the issues that are being brought up and the heartfelt conversations that you guys have. It's a start. It's where things need to be started. It's how we get things fixed. And you guys are doing a great job. And that's why, from the test episode, we called it, I believe. Do we call this episode 1? Is it a test? What do we do? That I've been watching the podcasts. So,
and we appreciate that support. We were just talking earlier how you've been one from the A1. You've been there just rocking with us. And I think that's what connected us, all of us, right? And with you, just this love for the town, this vision for the town, and the desire to want to do something about it. And here we are. So
the only way to get something to do something about it is get off the couch and get involved.
Let's talk about it.
Speaking of the couch, I'm gonna label you number 2 fan, because if I say number 1 fan, I'll be sleeping on the couch.
Oh yeah, no, that's all the wives can come first. I don't mind being down the list a bit.
Well, again, thank you so much.
No, again, thank you guys. I appreciate your time and what you do and allowing me to speak my pitch, we'll call it, and just give people a little bit more of me that may not know me.
Yes, sir. May 10th, everybody, vote. Go out there.
Go out there and vote.
Yeah, May 10th. It's that's what matters. That's how we get some change.
Yes, sir.
So,
and we'll share your page on our. I think I already did, but I'll share it again on our.
Oh, that's what I wanted to point out. I got a question for you. You put up the little. No. You put up the little post on with the Hudson page that says vote, and up in the left-hand corner, there's a little flag that looks like a red line. That's kind of used for like fire department. I don't want anybody thinking that I am a member of the fire department or pretending to be a member of the fire department. I support our public, safety departments. But I just wanted to bring that to attention that I am not a member of the Hudson Fire Department. I do support them. They are a wonderful group of people. There's just the thin red line up in the corner.
Oh, is that like?
That's for fire department.
Oh, okay. That was just
Yeah.
the template, but
Oh, okay.
yeah. No, that's just the template.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and I'll change it to blue. Or
Well, blue is for police department.
You know
okay.
what?
Yeah. So it's just
We'll
Right,
put it
I'm
to
a
white.
I'm a supporter of both of them. I just
Yeah.
wanted to make it clear that everybody knew that I was not a member of the fire department or pretending to be a member of the fire department. Those guys have a tough enough job without somebody, jumping on their back, kind of thing. So,
Definitely. I'll go ahead and get that fixed.
There we go.
all right. Well,
All right.
again,
Thank you,
gentlemen,
sir. Have a
thank
good
you very
night.
much.
Thank
You
you.
guys have
And
a great night.
Thank you.
we'll bring you back on when
Hey.
the time comes.
Definitely.
Anytime. I'm usually
right.
sitting on the couch watching your podcast. So
Let's do it.
just all right.
Appreciate it.
Let us
Hey,
know what you
what?
think of the bars. All right, they're coming up next.
I thought it was. Let's talk about it. Yeah. Got to use the tagline. Let's talk
All
about
right, let's talk about it.
Let's talk
it.
about it. Always.
All right, gentlemen.
All right. Thank you.
You
sir.
guys have a great night. Thank you.
Have a great night.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Bye.
This is dope. Very informative.
That was
All
good.
right.
So we're on to 2:25. We're about to hit 2:30. We have 5 minutes for the bars. A minute each.
You go first.
Nah, not tonight.
Hey, look, I knew it. I knew
Not
it.
tonight.
I got. Come on.
Miguelito,
now.
you can go.
How about we'll do episode by episode? Michael, if you have your bars, you can go first.
No. I want everyone at the same time because I want to show you guys up so they can hear your garbage and then hear my well-crafted recipe.
Your well-crafted recipe. Listen, if you plagiarize some Snoop Dogg stuff,
Yo, if people only knew what he wanted as a thumbnail first, but we'll make it happen though to make it more interesting.
let's talk
Like,
about
let's
it.
do it.
You wanted
Yeah,
me?
yeah. The thumbnail idea that you wanted at first. Remember that?
Remember.
Oh, it was the Compton combination of all Tupac,
dear.
Snoop.
Oh no! It was the picture.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
Record.
it was the Death Row.
Records.
Yeah.
With Snoop
Death Row.
Dogg, Suge,
Oh.
Dr. Dre, Jose, Mike, Edwin.
Only if I get one picture looking at you like this.
Right. We gotta get it right. We'll provide that.
course.
So we'll skip on the bars for now because people Edwin, the main host, keeps copping out. Last time he didn't show up on time. But listen, let's talk about real quick. Do we have any announcements? Shout out to Justin Baum, J Baum. He's working on our stickers so we can put them out there as soon as we get that going. Amber, I want to talk to her about merch. So Amber, if you get to watch this or somebody can tag her,
tag her real
let's start working on ideas for that merch or whatever it is that she can provide. We still gotta get back to Vanessa in regards to the mugs.
The mugs are the definitely.
And but do we have any announcements on what's next or anything you guys want to talk about in regards to upcoming?
I think we have. Jose, didn't you present the opportunity of having someone from our Hudson community coming on and probably diving deeper on one of our main topics tonight? And it was about the drug addiction and the proper conversations to get the help needed, and just diving in and supporting one another. I know that's coming up. I don't know if we have an exact date for it. But I do want to do, guys, I'm going to hold you accountable, questions and answers Monday night. Because, listen, if y'all ain't on, it's just going to be me. And I don't think everybody wants to hear me talk because I could go forever.
Well, we can give each other questions too that we want to ask each other. Like, Jose, who cut your hair?
Nobody has cut my hair, as you can see. I live up in Maine, but I could tell you where to get nice hair products so you can let your hair grow or you can get some hair.
Oh, okay. Hey,
My genetics
let me know when you can do this.
it'll
Me?
be a couple years. It'll be a couple years. I gotta work on the right products for that one. Um, but yeah, I think that's a great idea. It just seems like Mondays is a little complex for somebody. It comes up, something comes up. Um, but I was gonna say this, Edwin. Shout out to Jay, right? That's Edwin's only one squeeze, main squeeze. That's the wifey and the A1 fan.
Yep.
But I want to say this. I want to put it out to our ladies out there who are part of the part of the family, right? Part of the
Hmm.
community. Sonia, she locked in. We don't know exactly when, but we would love to see some perspective on our ladies. I think
Yep.
it's very important to have that kind of conversation or any conversation with them, and for somebody to have the courage. Vanessa, if you're watching this or you get to watch this, if there's anything, and listen, like, part of this or a lot of this is that you don't have to have something to offer as a product. Like, we just want to catch up and talk life, I think,
Yeah.
because we are connected to this town. So there's no requirement, like, you don't have to have something tangible. If
Yeah.
anything, we just want to hear your heart, your mind, your journey, what it's been like, if you're a mother, if you're a parent, if you're, and that goes to the guys too, or even if you're not a parent, what have you learned, what has your journey been for the past 10 years, 12 years? And let's just try to build this community. And in regards to that conversation that we're going to have with one of our peers and friend, in regards to the drug addiction and how it's really just, it could happen to anybody, that's in the works. We have to finalize on the date, but
Yeah.
I felt humble and honored that he reached out and said that he wanted to
Yep.
tackle this conversation, and that's what this is about, right? The essence of this project is that we can start somewhere, and that's through having real conversations for us to feel vulnerable, comfortable, and in a community where we can have these conversations.
I do want to add that I think we're wanting to have that person on for next Thursday. We just wanted to make sure that we line it up. I
Who
think
is
that's
it?
our next actual
I think we'll
conversation.
have that
But
conversation out. Michael,
I
I'll
have
let you know.
I have another person lined up for a similar topic to that. So I want to have two people on,
Okay.
and this person was brought to me by my A1. I'm still working on lining that up, and I want to do it for next Thursday. I just need to make sure that they're available, and that's what it is. I'm not going to release any names because we're going to leave that for that day.
Yeah,
Or
correct.
matter of fact, we will release the information the week of. So next week, probably Tuesday or Wednesday, as we did for Sean.
Or
We want to make
they
sure we
release it on the question and answer one.
There you go. On
we
Monday.
could do
Watch it
that
to
too.
find out.
A little teaser for y'all.
Right at the end, like a micro flash of their face.
Oh yeah, just
Yeah, you
drop
know?
it. Just, pew.
There you
Right.
go.
You know how YouTubers and TikTokers go, and then it just shows up. There you
No,
go.
I'm not a
So,
little kid. I don't watch TikTok.
Oh my god,
Remember when
hey,
TikTok musically? I do.
I do.
hey,
Um,
and I just want to remind everybody, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, that would be of great support. Please log into YouTube. We have a channel going where most of these conversations go. So they go on our page here on Facebook on this platform, and we also have them streamed to YouTube. And if you could support that channel as well, that would be lovely. That would be great.
definitely.
And thank you again for your time and for the support. Michael, go for it.
Um, I just want to clarify one thing because when I brought up the subject, it changed really fast. It was about the public market. Y'all were confusing it as like a farmer's market, like on the shops on the side of the road where people would go. But like it's more like a cafeteria type of a thing where there's different
Oh, do you mean like in Worcester?
yeah, like a public market,
Yeah, that's what he was
like
talking about. Yeah.
yeah, like
Oh,
something
okay.
like that, like the armory would be a good place.
Well,
Yeah.
he already told you how to do that. You go
Well,
to
no, because that would be more of like I think a privately owned business. I think it would be because you would have the people renting it out. Like I don't think the town can own a building and then lease out.
Are you trying to tell me that you're trying to open up Michael Stallion's restaurant? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yeah, we
This
own
guy.
stallion, caballo.
The Italian stallion. El caballo.
Yeah,
There
clown.
you go. I
But
know what
No,
you
but
mean, but
I'm down for that. I think that's a great idea, man.
yeah, yeah.
but also this is just kind of like a wrap up of everything. I
Yep.
think we as a culture or society, we need to get more to the root causes of problems instead of trying to put a band-aid over it. Because when we're having this discussion about drug addiction and mental health kept coming up, and
Hmm.
then we start talking about what causes the mental health, and we're talking about bullying. And whenever like someone is bullied or anything, the bullies often punished, right? We as a society, we shun them, we punish them, right? Which could be
Yeah.
just causing more distress and more mental health.
Right.
So I think just in any aspect of like a lot of society problems, we tend to just throw bandit over. We need to get to the source of the problems, because then if we get to the source, I think it would have a major impact instead of just like, okay, we have this money in place in case people overdose, but like, why not have a program in place to try to stop them from even getting down that lane?
Right.
Yeah.
I think
Correct.
I think you bring something great, Michael, which I think that's always my conversation is why, right? Like the question is why? Why do we have bullies? Bullies bully because they're in pain or they're hurting, but why are they hurting? Right? And then we get to the bottom of that answer, and then we keep going, we keep digging farther and farther down to get to the real conversation. And then coming up with a solution for that, for the real conversation or for the real dilemma of what's going on or what's
Definitely.
causing all these traumatic experiences or traumatic journeys that end up in, obviously in not a good place, right?
Yeah.
But I think that's actually a good correction, right? As to, like, and if Sean's still watching, right, it's more of how can we do more for that kind of question, right? Or to
Yeah.
finding out what the real problem is, and then how can we tackle that?
Also, I
I
want
think
to
he
say
did answer it
about the day
though.
program.
Yeah.
Go for
Um,
it.
so, like, you know how it ended for Hudson in like seventh grade or whatever. I don't
Hmm.
even remember in seventh grade, but I went to eighth grade in Hudson, and then I went to Marlboro, and I had to repeat eighth grade. But I remember actually hearing about the drug epidemic in eighth grade at Marlboro. It was actually Officer Wendy. She came in and she started talking about. She's like, "What's the largest drug problem in the community?" And everyone's saying like weed and stuff like that. She's like, "No, it's heroin."
Yeah.
And then she started like actually teaching us. But after that, like that was maybe one 40-minute assembly instead of like
Yeah.
actually like teaching.
I mean, like you said though, it doesn't just start with the conversations with that we're having. It's also people going down and signing up to be volunteers and signing up for these ideas in the town meetings. Because if people aren't doing that, then what's happening? You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, it's a
And
collective work. It's
and
not just a one man.
exactly.
It's not a one man or two people or five people for that matter.
And
It's everybody holding each other accountable and yourself accountable as a parent, as
yeah,
a youngin, as a youth, as a teacher, as a you name it. Everybody holding yourself accountable and saying, okay, what can I do? Or what am I going to do? And it could just start by you tackling yourself or your own situation, your own heart or your own.
which is true. But I feel like when we're talking about that, what comes into play that's going to allow people to teach themselves this? Besides conversations that happen at a young age, besides conversations that happen with friends and youth and stuff like that, like how are you going to hold people accountable to do that? There's really no program or funding that's going to assist with that.
Well, even programs are funding. Like we're all talking about the DARE program, but why isn't this like why don't we have like mental health classes in school, and why don't we have
Yeah.
like physical education that
Mm-hmm.
talks about this throughout schooling, like from first grade all the way to you
Yeah.
graduate, and just gradually add on to it?
I feel like a lot of it has to do with the fact that Jose just answered it. It's a collective. So you do have the
It
parents
would be
that do,
classes. Like it's
but
not
you
like
have the parents that come up and say, I don't want my child learning that at this age. It's too young for them. And maybe it's okay. And every parent has their own decision to that what their child should learn. But maybe your child's not going through that. But who knows if your child's best friend, who you allow into your home every day, is not going through that, and you're just not reaching out and making sure that they're okay. You know what
what
I
those
mean?
parents need to understand that it could be their child that's going to go through it.
In
Yeah,
the right, and that's what I'm saying, that it's some so it's not a if, something does need to get
yeah,
done about it, and we all should collectively, right?
yeah.
um
But it starts with, like Sean said, go down to your town meetings, bring this up, see what's being done with it, see what funding is going in. Is there funding going into certain areas of the schools, or your public departments that probably could be lessened back and thrown into other areas? You know what I mean? Like, we're not going to find out these answers if we don't ask these questions
Hmm.
where we're supposed to ask them. You know what I mean? And it's not just Hudson; it's every
Oh
town,
yeah, for sure.
every town. And that's one of the things that I think I took away from this, that I might be doing since I live in Clinton. I might be. I know they hold them like virtually, the town meetings, so I might be joining one of them to see what's going on with
Yep.
this town, because drugs. Like we said, It's not just in one town. It's not just in Hudson or Marlboro. It's in the town that I live in. It's all the way out in Maine where you live in. You know what I mean? It's everywhere,
Yes, sir.
and we all just have to do our part for the community that we live in and for the community that we were raised in. And that's why we talk so much about Hudson, even though it's not just Hudson. We talk about the community itself in whatever surrounding towns in Massachusetts. But it just so happens that we all were raised in Hudson, and we feel that it's our obligation or our duty to try to give back in some certain way to our town. And so, I think I will say that this podcast tonight, job well done. Job well
You're
done.
welcome.
What do you say?
Don't forget the bars on Monday. All right,
I got
Yeah,
bars
the
for you.
bars.
Gays.
All right.
boy. Oh
Lays.
my
All
god.
right, fellas.
A little for gays.
Who wants to end the show? Who wants to close it out?
Michael, drop them bars. If you have so many bars,
Ah,
Now you can't get
spare
any.
16. Spare
spare
16.
16.
If you want that, you can have to pay. And ain't nothing to do these days. I would end the show, but I don't have the opportunity to stop the streaming. So I think
Well, I'm
whoever's
saying
in
close it
control of that
out.
needs
What
to
do we
do it.
Close
do?
it up. Thank
All
you,
right,
everybody
guys.
who's still rocking.
Thank
Tune
you
in.
so much.
Josh Pereira said he's gonna come and talk to us. That's another one.
Ooh.
Who
I'll
said?
let the person who does the sketch. Oh, that's me. Yeah, we'll arrange that. The parents' role
Oh,
is important.
Punlade. Yo, isn't that messed up?
Yeah.
We used to call him Punlade in high school.
I didn't call him
I
that.
didn't call him that.
Yeah, but
So
we.
talk about bullying. Let's talk about the
Exactly.
real
Let's talk
problem here.
about
Let's talk
Michael's
about it.
bullying.
He
No,
needs help. He needs somebody to talk to, and
And
we need to know why.
this is why Michael's on the show, because
It-
he's now learning to talk about the conversations that needed to be had when he was young.
Hey, let's
Oh, what's
talk
the
about it.
Funny,
their
Mike no
name?
longer is a bully, even though he
I
was
was
never a
the one-
bully. We're just messing around. But
I was the alpha dog.
I want to thank everybody who tuned in for this long show, the 2 hours and 42 minutes going on. I'm Edwin. That's Jose.
Boss man
That's
here.
Michael.
Michael, that's the other boss man. Edwin, the other boss man. H-Town and
Producer.
Hometown Podcast.
Producer
The
Ed.
Boro Boys will be with y'all in a few weeks, bro. All right. When we line up the schedule, they want to come on for sure. And we talk. We
I have an announcement.
go for it. We talked about it already, so we just gotta line that up a little bit more.
Yep.
Go ahead.
No, I'll keep it to myself for a couple more days.
All right, keep it to yourself.
Oh my goodness.
Come on, Mike.
I'll
Come
tell
on.
you guys in private.
We
but
need
I'll
we
let
need an
that-
exclusive. All right, one
give you the
exclusive per
exclusive.
episode.
All right, that's fine. That's fine. All right. Well, we thank you very much for tuning in. Hit the like, ask us any questions. Like we said, we're doing a Q&A Monday. We're going to make sure everyone is accountable, talking about accountability. And let's talk about it, guys.
Let's talk about it. We out.
We out. Ready?
Hey.
Watcha!